Welcome to Baker's channel where stories unfold, covering trials, dramas untold. Grab your seat, settle in, start the show. Courtroom clashes, the fun we bestow. Baker's channel, action's hot, draws and fun, all we got. Discuss, debate, break it down. Baker's channel, just the best in town. Lawyers spar, tensions high, sparks fly. We laugh, we learn, dive into the why. Join the chat, have your say, it's your place too. Every twist, we're here for you. Baker's channel, action's hot, draws and fun, all we got. Discuss, debate, break it down. Baker's channel, just the best in town. Damn, please join the crowd. Baker's channel, we're live and loud.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the afternoon part of the Laurie Shaver case. This morning was good. It was fast. And it was filled with sidebars. 13 sidebars so far. Thinking about the big takeaways, I think it was a good thing that the brother who apparently is working at Little D's gym talked about how she alienated Travis from the family because that shows a pattern. Now I'm talking about what's good for the state. Alienated the family or Travis from the family, like Michael's family was talking about yesterday. I think the ballistics expert was a waste. There was nothing in it. It was just 30 minutes of description of how you do stuff that didn't lead to any results. So yeah, I feel that was kind of wasted, that we had to sit through that. And the neighbor who smelled stuff, yeah, the jury will remember that, I believe. But it's going to be interesting. Hey, Birdie Man and Marissa Girl, Oracle Cat. I'm listening to music on Spotify, singing, and then this other music started playing. I was like, what? Well, I should be on Spotify. Hello again, Snivels and Danny T. Danny T, where were the pictures of the pig with the lipstick from yesterday? Just asking. It's a beautiful day for a motorcycle ride. What did I miss? You didn't miss anything. You were here all morning. Little D. Yo. And Mr. Fedorowski. And Anya. And Sue. But again, how many witnesses did we have this morning? 8? 7? And they were saying yesterday they had 15 witnesses, but they wanted the neighbor to be recalled for something. So if we are going to 5:30 again today, defense should be able to start in the morning tomorrow. And I can't see them having that many witnesses. They will have Laurie's daughter, who they claim did it, maybe did it, thought she did it. Will Jay be called? It could be interesting if Jay is... Well, they need to call Jay because they claim he did it, and it was him who bought the cement for it. So we need him, a lead investigator, a tech guy to talk about the IP addresses and how they found all the online purchases and stuff like that. So we need one of those. I don't know what's wrong with my hair today. It's weird. So yeah, I can't see much more we're having. Maybe that girlfriend that claims she stalked them could be a good one to get in there as well. I'm going to get lipstick today. I didn't have any that would show up on their piggy lips. I would go with a bright red. But don't kiss them. They actually put the kid. They will be putting the kid on the stand. Yes. Well, I think it's because in Florida you can't be charged as an adult when you are less than 10 years. Did I read it? 10 years old. So they're probably banking on her admitting to all of it, and then she'll be sent home. Oh my. Yeah, she has no shame. She wrote another lady about her indiscretions because she wanted to steal her husband. This lady couldn't find shame in the phone book. And I don't know if shame is a name in the phone book. And I don't know if there's phone books anymore. So no, she's a weird one. Defense did okay with some witnesses. He just comes off as condescending. I forgot to pull down my poll on the other chat. Why do I do that all the time? Well, it should probably begin looking at. Mhm. Laurie is diabolical. She seems very special. Blah blah. Say. Yeah, and putting her own kid on the stand, blaming her kid, then doing the opening statement, making up some concocted story about how the kid thought she did it, but she didn't do it because Jay did it, and uh, I really, I don't know. She's what now? 15 years old. She's going to have to live with this forever. She couldn't find shame if it was tatted on her fun box. Nanya, I agree. But it's one of those cases where you're beginning to wonder, because I feel it's quite open or quite shut. Okay, sorry. Who else? Jay, maybe, but then why didn't she say anything? Why did she lie? Why did she use his social media? Why did she make up that story about him in Georgia? I think a lady like her will take the stand. The way she's been talking to her lawyer the entire time, and I think she's one of those people who believe I can talk my way out of this, and end up doing cross examination, getting absolutely run over by the prosecutor. Hey, that weird girl. That's the ultimate tramp stamp. Yeah, especially when you put another guy's name in it. Imagine being the next guy visiting the fun fair. Hey, what's that? At least do the thing. What's her name? Harley Quinn has that says "Lucky You" instead of putting a guy's name on it. Yes, because Sue wasn't there, I wouldn't do word crack today. Helen from Holland, hello again. If I do a super chat, would you show and explain your tattoo? Um, you don't have to do a super chat. Which tattoo are you talking about? I have a few. Yeah, she will. N- well, sorry, Sue. Hey, Carla. You don't have to super chat me for anything. You can always ask me a question. If I don't want to answer it, doesn't matter how much you pay me. Right arm up to the shoulder. Uh, it's a sailor because I used to be in the Marines. It's a Lancaster bomber because that's what my dad said was the first thing he could remember the sound of when he was a kid. Then, of course, there's some clouds. Then we have some laurels for winning, and I have my two Danish flags for my two deployments. It's not that I can't get it to work. I do what I have to do, but there might be an update that so it doesn't sync. Sailor for my time when I did my enlistment. Uh, a Lancaster bomber for my dad, who he was in the Air Force and remember that from when he was a kid. Laurel leaf for victory, and my two Danish flags, one for each deployment. Yes, I did it again. Danielle is mad at my tattoo. That's not nice. Yes, I moved it. I moved it. Only you, Sean. Only you. Do I have a tattoo in your hypogastric area? Is that inside my colon or something? Well, you're a little hot. Yeah. Why am because you kept yelling that I should take down the comment after I had did it. So below the belly button, I have 3 tattoos below the belly button. Well, I do have my black and whites, but I got a lot of color on my legs, and but because you can see this a lot more, so I didn't put color in it, so it doesn't pop as much. Sinclair Group, please make them send me a thing, so a licensing. Let's. I've shown them. I have one on my thigh and two, one on each calf. That's below the belly. Yeah. Well, normally I'll just say WD. Yeah. When we were at the mall and some guy came up and said, "I really like your tattoos, man." That's cool. This case is crazy, and it never ceases to amaze me the lengths that people go to get what they want. Sociopaths don't care about anyone but themselves. I usually reserve judgment, but when she felt the need to put her daughter into it, yes, she's a cray cray. Jamie, can you tell Marissa that that's apparently not enough because we still have to strike.
What's not
Your
enough?
HR. She claims that she emailed them and sat on hold for 2 hours, but I didn't get the licensing. And unless we hear about some poor intern being fired, was it worth it?
Everything Marissa does is amazing. Don't be mean to
She
her.
is amazing. Does it hurt to get a tattoo? Yes. Does it hurt so much you can't bear it? No. The color in tattoos hurts way worse than these. My forearms is. I think this took like 2 hours, and this one was closer to 3.5 hours. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. There's some sore spots there, but it's the first minute is sore. The one I have on my thigh, because the red ink in the heart I had there just disappeared into the skin, so I had to go back 2 weeks later and have it put in. So you have the outline of the tattoo, which is an open sore, and you had all that color put in, and where they're just sitting in the same spot over and over again, and then you have to come back 2 weeks later and they're just sitting in the same spot over and over. That hurt a little bit. Other than that, no, it's I would say in the what do you call it? Not the kneecap, but the other side.
The
inside of your knee.
Yeah.
Or the bendy part.
The bendy part.
Yeah, that's probably not the technical term, but the knee bendy part. In that area, it gets a little feisty. And right on the tip of your shoulder, that's hurtful. And my chesticle, because that felt just like it was in the nipple all the time.
Did you say testicle?
No, I said chesticle, Jamie. I don't say words like testicle. It's really easy to follow along with in my description of her relationships. I know.
See, I told you.
I have 15 minutes before I got a call and be nice to someone. Well, yell at Zach or someone. Yes, one of them, my dad is used to be friends with the lady who owns it, because it's a Danish woman who was married to a British guy. And because he was good friends with them, and he did a lot of work by remembering the Allied airmen who was shot down over Denmark, he got her to do 2 flybys over our city in a memorial. So that was pretty cool. Sadly, my camera from back then wasn't that good. I had where it flew right across, right over me. But my dad used to know the one who has one of the one. I can't remember the name of it, but that's the one they used for movies and stuff like that, because for a long time that was the only one flying. It hurts playing American football, but it's fun. It hurts having a hangover, but it's fun getting drunk. It hurts having a child, but it's a blessing. That didn't hurt that much having a child. That's more the yelling that it hurt my feelings that she was yelling at me. I like tattoos in hard to reach places. So that's the top shelf at the supermarket. Jamie, be nice. He's not that small.
Oh my God, David. Hi, David.
No, it's not the ligaments. It's the part of the knee that bends. You have the kneecap here, and then that part. We call it knähäs. We have a name for it. Hey, Alex, move it. We have audio from court. I'm going to turn this down because it's going to be white noise.
Of them yet today about whether or not they followed the court's orders. We did? Oh, I apologize. I missed that.
Yes, sir.
This morning? I apologize. Yes, ready to go.
All right, Mr. Wiggs.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please bring in the jurors. Thank you.
Yeah, they look very much alike. Tiller is the kneecap. Yeah, and then let me get Mr. Bender.
Let's see.
This part. You have the knee here, and then the inside of the knee.
All right, please be seated. I see
Yeah,
that
the back
all
of the knee.
have returned from lunch. And are the parties ready to proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please call your next witness.
State calls Detective Jared Strickland.
Where is Jay? Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, Jay.
Good afternoon. Please come up to the witness stand. Please be seated. Make yourself comfortable. Let me know when you're ready to proceed.
I don't connect it
All
to
set?
the
All right. Please state and spell your full legal name.
Jared Strickland, JARROD,
Thank you. Please raise your right hand. I'll swear you in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you give today shall be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Good afternoon. Please introduce yourself to the jury.
Sure. Good afternoon. I'm Corporal Jared Strickland with the Lake County Sheriff's Office
And how long have you been with the Lake County Sheriff's Office?
since 2006.
What is your current position or assignment?
Currently, I'm a corporal.
Yeah, all of that is on the inside of the knee, but we have a name for the area on the back of the knee. We call it the knee knähäse. So
I'm one of the supervisors within our criminal investigations unit
And how long have you been in that position?
since 2021.
Now, taking you back to February of 2017, what was your position then?
In February 2017, I was one of our economic crimes detectives.
And what is it when you say economic crimes detectives? What kind of crimes would you investigate?
probably.
Different types of fraud, credit card fraud, identity theft, sometimes things that deal with computers and electronics.
And how did you become involved into the investigation into the death of
Sure. I was asked to start getting bank records, financials from the different people that are involved, and to review those records as well as social media.
Let me ask you this. When a case, a homicide case in particular, is being investigated by the Lake County Sheriff's Office, is it assigned to just one detective or a whole team working on this issue?
Sure. Typically, it's an entire team of detectives that are working on it because we all bring different things to the table.
And was your background, training, experience with various forms of financial, social media records, and things like that from your economic crimes background useful in the investigation?
Yes, it was.
Now, as part of the records that you looked into, did you seek out information and documents from Facebook in this case?
Yes, I did.
And in order to obtain records from Facebook, how do you go about doing that?
We have to get a search warrant.
And first of all, did you prepare warrants to get information with a for a Facebook profile associated with a Michael Shaver.
Yes, I did.
I'm showing you has already been entered into evidence. It states exhibit number 10. Which way? It's already in evidence.
Come on. Move along, please.
After Strickland, there's a thumb drive in that envelope. Can you go ahead and take a look at that? And the stage number 10 are those the Facebook records that you obtained through Facebook.
Yes, they are.
And when you obtain these types of records, particularly we'll start with Michael Shaver's Facebook records. Are they sent to you printed out in boxes, or how are they sent to you?
They're not. So Facebook has a law enforcement records request portal where they will upload all of that information to, and then we then download it in a zip folder because it's usually quite large.
And do they assign it a special number to associate with the request that you've made?
Yes, they do.
Does that number appear in the records themselves?
Yes, it does.
And then does that number also appear on the business record certification that's included in that folder?
Yes, it does.
Now, the records that we're dealing with there are on a thumb drive. Do we have over 3,000 pages on that thumb drive?
Yes, correct.
Now, as you've gone through, after you've initialed it, you have gone through all of those records, looked at the pictures, things of that nature.
Yes, I have.
And as you went through that, are there pieces of information that identify the potential owner of that profile?
Yes, there is.
What kind of information is included in there?
There's a phone number as well as an email that's associated with that, along with what Facebook calls the vanity name, which is a unique identifier that cannot.
Remember the golden rule, it's never leading if no one yells objection.
Not be changed within the Facebook records.
And as you went through those particular records, does that include photos that the user may have uploaded or someone using that account may have uploaded?
Yes.
Did you see photographs of Michael Shaver throughout the Facebook profile associated with the Michael Shaver account?
Yes, I did.
Now, are you familiar with Facebook?
I am.
Did you ever have a Facebook account?
Previously, yes.
You no longer have one?
No, sir.
All right. What is the process that you go through in order to log into Facebook?
Sure. So Facebook is typically it's used on a mobile device. It can be logged into on a computer. But if it's in either case, if the password is stored on whatever that device is, you can just load right into it. There's also a way that you can use biometrics such as Face ID or your thumbprint, depending on what kind of phone you have. Or if you have the device that was previously logged into it and it hasn't logged out.
Is there anything that would prevent another individual from logging into someone's Facebook account as long as they had either the password or a device that was already associated with that and currently logged in?
No.
What is an ISP?
So an ISP is a internet service provider. That is the company that you pay for internet through, whether it's Spectrum, CenturyLink, any number of the different providers that provide cable, internet, fiber services.
And what is an IP address?
An IP address stands for Internet Protocol. This is a unique identifier to a network that a device is connecting to the internet on.
Now, as part of your background and training into investigations of economic crimes, have you had experience investigating cases involving the use of IP addresses and things of that nature?
Yes, I have.
Now, as you went through the Facebook records, do they maintain IP logs for activity associated with that account?
Yes, they do.
And does that IP address give you a physical address that's associated with that IP address?
No, it does not.
Are you able, once you get that IP address, to do anything to start investigating where the physical location of that may be?
Yes, I can.
And what is that?
So once we have an IP address, we're able to use internet resources to find out who the internet service provider is. Once we have the internet service provider, depending on what kind of request they want to release records, typically it's a subpoena or sometimes a court order, we can send them a subpoena and they will give us subscriber information, which includes the service location, the names on the account, billing information if we request it, and so forth.
And the IP addresses that we are going to be referencing go back to how far back?
The IP addresses that we have go back to at least 2015.
And when did you become involved with this investigation, start looking into the issues involved with this IP address and things like that?
February 2018.
When you got the IP addresses associated with the Facebook account, were you able to determine which service provider was linked up with those IP addresses?
Yes, I was.
And which service provider was that?
By and large, it was CenturyLink.
And when you went to try to obtain information from CenturyLink to associate it with any physical addresses, were you able to get that information?
I was not.
Why not?
CenturyLink told us that they only keep records for one rolling calendar year.
So trying to get records of physical address associated with IP addresses in 2018 for stuff that happened in 2015, 2016 was just impossible.
That's correct.
Now, as part of your review of the Facebook profiles, did you also obtain a search warrant in order to get the information from Laurie Shaver's Facebook?
That's correct.
I'm showing the defense what has previously been states HH. No, that's Ms. Shaver's records, the other one was Mr. Shaver. I'm showing you what's been previously, can you go ahead and just put that back in there before? Showing you what's been previously marked as states HH, you recognize those records and the thumb drive contained within.
Yes, I do.
And what is contained on that thumb drive?
These are Laurie Shaver's Facebook records.
And how do you know that's what's on that thumb drive? Have you reviewed it in the initial thumb drive?
Yes, yes, I have.
And are those all the records that Facebook sent to you with their identifying a number associated on that thumb drive?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, this time the state moved HH into evidence as 36.
35, I believe. 35? 35.
35.
Yes, sir. Any objection?
Your motion on this on the digital data?
Yes, sir.
As we've raised before.
All right. And the objection is overruled, and states HH will be entered into evidence as states number 35.
Now, similar question, have you gone through all the data that's contained on there?
Yes, sir.
And did that have information associating it with Laurie Shaver?
Yes, it did.
What kind of information was that?
The same information. It will have the vanity name, which is a unique identifier that is set up whenever the account is established, along with phone numbers and email addresses.
Did it include pictures of herself, her children, her home, things of that nature?
Yes, it did.
And how far back does that activity go?
I believe 2015 at least.
And that would have been the time frame that you obtained the warrant for?
Correct.
And the amount of information on that thumb drive, how is that in relation to the records from Michael Shaver?
Significantly larger.
Based on the activity that you saw, was she more frequent poster on Facebook than the Michael Shaver account?
Yes.
Of course.
Part of those records that are already in evidence, does Facebook maintain all of those IP addresses associated with the activity?
Yes, they do.
And now, does that mean every single time somebody just pulls up Facebook, scrolls, looks at a picture, does something like that, that activity is going to be referenced on those IP logs?
Typically, no.
What types of things register on the IP log history that you get from these records?
Sure. Login activity is one of the big ones. Anytime anybody accesses Facebook on their device, whether it's a phone or a computer, Facebook will log that IP address. Whenever messages are sent, photos are shared, statuses are updated, IP or Facebook will log that IP address for that activity.
If someone were to upload photos, change your profile picture, with that type of thing?
Yes.
And does the actual IP logs contain information not only that the account was accessed, but the type of activity that was done?
Yes, it does.
I'm showing you as previously marked for identification as states II and JJ. Do you recognize these two exhibits?
Yes, I do.
And what are those exhibits?
These are the IP logs for each of the Facebook accounts.
And specifically, does II match up with the IP logs for Michael Shaver?
Yes, it does.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moves states II into evidence in states 36.
Any objection?
Second objection as to the motion that's previously been held on this and the testimony received.
Yes, your objection's overruled. States II will be admitted into evidence as states number 36.
And states JJ, is that the IP log history for Laurie Shaver?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moves states JJ into evidence in states 37.
Second objection, Judge.
Yes, your objection's overruled. States JJ will be admitted into evidence as states number 37.
Now, can you first pull up Michael Shaver's IP log history and just tell the jury how many pages? Look the number at the top.
Sure. The
Yes, that she had access to his Facebook account.
Michael Shaver IP logs for Facebook span 13 pages.
And the Laurie Shaver Facebook account, how long is it?
77 pages.
Now, in order to assist the jury with your testimony regarding the information that was contained in those IP logs, was a summary prepared of the information contained in those folders.
Yes, it was.
And specifically what types of IP addresses were summarized for this purpose.
We did a comparison based on IP addresses for both Michael Shaver and Laurie Shaver's Facebook activity that were shared IP addresses. Those were IP addresses that hit both of the accounts.
And so the summary that we're about to talk.
That's why if you're ever gonna do things like that, remember your husband's phone when you go to the Waffle House with the free Wi-Fi.
About covers any IP address that appeared in both of those folders.
That's correct.
And as this was a trial exhibit, who actually prepared the summary?
The state attorney's office.
You go back through the summary in order to check to make sure that the information contained in here does reflect the information in those folders.
Yes, I did.
I'm showing defense was previously marked as states KK.
Your Honor, second objection to the data log summary as to this is not a business record, it's a summary, it's not been stipulated to, and it doesn't follow the.
Come up for a sidebar, please. Thank you.
Hi, Bob. This is gonna be dry and boring. Unless it's PV password protected, then she'd have to have the password. That's what he said in the beginning. You could, if you had access and it didn't log out of the phone, you could go in there. And 2015, that was before you started having a thumbnail or thumbprint access on stuff like that.
All right. Detective Strickland, have you had a chance to look at the summary that I have just given?
Yes, I have.
Is that the summary that we have just been discussing?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moved A into evidence as number 38.
All right, over defense objection, court will move exhibit KK into evidence as states number 38.
Your Honor, I'd ask that the witness be allowed to step down.
Certainly, please feel free to move.
And go ahead and bring all three of those folders.
Yes, sir.
Now, as you went through both sets of IP logs, how many different IP addresses did you find that both the Michael Shaver account and the Laurie Shaver account shared?
There were 13 shared IP addresses.
Now, if someone were to connect to their home Wi-Fi, and we had multiple people in that home using that home Wi-Fi, would they all register the same IP address?
Yes, they would.
And similarly, if I went to go visit you, and you gave me your Wi-Fi password, and then I started utilizing my mobile device, would I then be utilizing your Wi-Fi?
Yes,
And then therefore your IP account?
that's correct.
If you were to go to
Why is she nodding along?
Starbucks, and then you utilize their password and
Jamie, I'm supposed to show you this one.
But oh, that
It's
guy.
because it looks like the detective.
I remember him. He really kind of does.
log into their account.
Sorry?
I said he kind of does. He needs a.
Yeah.
He's a little spiky though.
You then have a different IP address located in your phone.
Yes,
And if you utilize anything on Facebook while you were doing that at that outside area, would that IP address reflect in your records?
yes, it would.
Now, publishing page 72 from the Laurie Shaver records and page 13 from the Michael Shaver records, can you basically just summarize first for the jury the information that we're looking at?
Sure, so this is the Facebook IP address log for both of the accounts.
Yes, how well is it working for Marissa to tell me not to do something again? That telling me not to do something normally just makes me do it more. That's why we have the crazy Canadian lady. But thank
The Michael Shaver records are on the left, the Laurie Shaver records are on the right. You'll notice that it's in reverse order. So at the bottom of the page is actually the oldest activity that we got. And as you go up, it becomes more recent in history. The information that you will see is an action, which tells you what kind of activity was done while it was logged in. You'll get the date and time. The time is in universal coordinated time, which, depending on whether or not we're in daylight savings or standard time, is either 4 or 5 hours behind our current time.
Detective Strickland, let me just let it pause there. When you talk about the universal time, then what is that?
So it's basically it's a time zone that, for many different purposes, was used so that we don't have different time zones for everything. And because we all live in different time zones, things are relative.
So when Facebook has to send records probably all through the world, and so all of their times that are going to appear from here would be universal time?
Correct.
And how do you convert universal time to Eastern Standard?
We can use either a website to convert it or just subtract or add 4 or 5 hours, depending on what time zone we're in, whether it's daylight savings.
So when we're, depending on whether or not we're in daylight savings time, it would be 4 to 5 hours different from UTC.
Correct.
All right. Now, you've talked about the time. What other information are on these IP logs?
The IP address itself.
Now, the area, first of all, that is in the blue box both on the Michael Shaver records and the Laurie Shaver records. What is the significance of those two entries in that blue box?
So those are the same shared IP address that both of the accounts conducted activity on within a certain amount of time of each other.
And can you just point those two IP addresses and read them out loud for the jury?
Sure. 71.49.14.136. 71.49.14.136.
Okay. And then what is the next line in that blue box?
The next line is the time. So January 5th, 2016 at 16:05 Universal Coordinated Time. January 5th, 2016 at 2:08 Universal Coordinated Time.
And then what is the last line that is in the blue box?
Iris, have you checked your Twitter DMs today?
I can't stop. Now I can't stop seeing his little spiky hair in the front.
No, that's not a good look.
No, it makes me think of that guy now.
I don't know who it is. We don't have Saturday Night Live over here. So,
No, you know what Iris Mist is the most romantic.
oh yeah, the
of all
poem.
time.
I'm gonna get that tattooed on my body. Iris, look me in the eyes. This one's for you, girl.
Please do it. Yes.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Your man is a whore. My wife is too.
I mean, weak in the knees.
It's more. We are almost technically married.
The action that was done, photo uploaded, photo uploaded.
Now, what about the red box? Is that the same IP address that appeared in the blue box area?
It is the same IP address.
What is the time difference?
No, the crazy Canadian lady is the French Canadian lady with the laughing yoga. I would never call all women in Canada crazy.
Between when the device accessing the Michael Shaver records access compared to the device accessing the Laurie Shaver records?
203, 103.
So approximately within an hour.
Correct.
And because it's utilizing the same IP address, that indicates that those devices were in the same area.
That's correct.
Moving on to the next slide, what information is, first of all, is this from the summary?
Yes, it is.
Now, is this how the information from the previous two pages from the individual records themselves have been compiled into the summary for purposes of the jury?
Yes, it is.
So the area in the red box on here, is that the same information that's on the previous slide?
Yes, it is.
And then the blue box.
Yes, it is.
So if the jury were so inclined, they could actually take the original IP logs from those two folders and look and verify all the information that's in the summary if they chose.
Yes, they could.
All right. Moving on, next slide. First of all, what is the date of this activity?
The date of this activity is April 3rd, 2016.
And can you just show the jury on the summary where they get that information? All right, and for the actual chart itself, is that labeled on the chart as far as the date?
Yes, it is.
And can you show them there?
The date is right here. And then April 2016, and then the date is in that column.
Thank you. Now, this particular April 3rd date, is that utilizing the same IP address?
Yes, it is.
And is that why it's together on that same line?
Yes, it is.
And the activity on the Michael Shaver account and the device associated with that, how far apart is that from the activity on the Laurie Shaver account?
11:39, 12:07.
So that's within a half an hour.
Correct.
Moving on to May, still April of 2016, specifically April 21st. Was there another instance of close activity?
Yes, there is.
And can you describe that for the jury to show them by using the summary?
The action on the Mike Shaver account was a login, and the activity on Laurie Shaver's account was an uploaded photo.
Okay. And what was the time difference?
1709, 1741, 30 minutes.
And the summary that we have, and that's been admitted into evidence, does that also have the time conversion to Eastern Standard that you, using the formula that you described to the jury?
The summary does, yes.
Okay. And can you show them where that goes?
In the parentheses.
So everywhere after the UTC time where it says EST, that would be local time.
That's correct.
Moving on, now at May 3rd of 2016, what was significant about
The crazy Canadian lady had a laughing yoga studio. It's Jamie and Marissa's favorite part of the Saturday.
Yeah, she's my favorite lady ever.
the activity on the two accounts here?
The same IP address. Mike Shaver's account was a login. Laurie Shaver's account was a uploaded photo. The times were approximately 15 minutes apart.
I want to focus a little bit specifically on Michael Shaver's account. Did you review Facebook messages from that account between the Michael Shaver Facebook account and Vanessa Townsend?
Yes, I did.
Moving on to those records themselves that are already in evidence, what was the first message and the date that that message was sent from the Michael Shaver account?
So the first date was February 25th, 2016, 7:43 Universal Coordinated Time.
And did you find Facebook messages preceding the delivery of any sort of flowers to?
Hey, Suze Bluesky, welcome, welcome.
Vanessa Townsend through the Facebook records?
Yes, I did.
And I'm showing you it's previously been admitted into evidence that states number 32 are those records.
Yes, they are.
And as we go through, moving on to the messages themselves, when was the message sent that said that the individual utilizing the Mike Shaver account had something for Miss Townsend?
It is the top, which is on 2 pages, April 5th, 2016.
Okay. And what about, was there a phone number shared to Vanessa Townsend utilizing this account?
Yes, there was.
And what was that content and when was that sent?
That message was sent on April 9th, 2016 at 21:26 Universal Coordinated Time. The message read, "Please contact me at 352-801-0941.
And then is there something that indicates that Vanessa Townsend should receive something that day?
Yes.
And for anyone who didn't get it, universal control time or coordinated time is Greenwich. So that's Eastern Standard Time plus 6. So when you hear 5 o'clock, it's noon. I don't know if you're taking notes of the time. I'm not. I just needed a break to say something, so this becomes fair use because I'm commenting on it.
When was that sent and what was the content of that message?
On April 11th, 2016, the message stated, "Your special delivery is to arrive today. Hope to finally hear back from you."
When you went back to the IP logs, were you able to find consistent IP shared history on February 25th from the Michael Shaver account and the Laurie Shaver account?
Yes, I was.
All right. And can you go ahead and describe to the jury the information that we have here?
Sure. These are the Facebook records that we received, the IP activity log that was put into the summary. This is Michael Shaver on this side, Laurie Shaver on this side. The purple highlight is all for the same IP addresses, and it also shows the dates and times and what activity was conducted.
And is there activity from Michael Shaver's account using that IP address on the day that these messages start being sent?
Yes, there is.
And what was the date and time?
That was February 25th, 2016 at 21:57 Eastern Time.
And then did Laurie Shaver's account utilize that same IP address on that same day?
Yes, it did.
And what was that time?
February 25th at 7:06 Eastern Time.
Now, when did Michael Shaver's Facebook account have the most activity during the time frame that you were looking?
Sure, the most activity was concentrated around this time, the end of February 2016.
And then did that extend to the time frame that messages were being sent to Vanessa Townsend?
Yes.
What was the time frame that you obtained these Facebook records and IP addresses for both the Michael Shaver and the Laurie Shaver account?
We tried to go back to 2014 until whatever the present time was that we got these records sometime in 2018.
Is it fair to say that this shared IP history extends from November 2015 to November 2017?
Yes.
And going through the time frame in April, once the flowers are received, is that when the majority of the activity appears on Michael Shaver's account?
Yes.
And going ahead and just
Jamie, is it just me, or whenever we can't see the evidence and it's just he's asking, I'm sleeping on my feet?
I know.
It's just, yes, yeah. You try to follow along, but it's not, now it's just dates and names and you don't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
we're publishing page 27 and 28 of the history of the summary, And can you summarize the types of activity that you're seeing on the Michael Shaver account and talk about how that relates to Laurie Shaver?
Sure. So according to the summary, it looks like once a day, Michael Shaver's Facebook account was accessed using the same IP address that Laurie Shaver's account was also accessing while Laurie Shaver was uploading photos.
Now, during this time frame, is this when Facebook messages are being sent to Vanessa Townsend prior to the flowers actually arriving at Vanessa Townsend's work?
Yes.
And these are the time frames that the messages were not being responded to.
Correct.
And then what is going on Laurie Shaver? Is Laurie Shaver's account utilizing the same IP address throughout that same time frame?
Yes, it is.
Moving on to pages 29 and 30 from the summary, does this activity reflect actions that happened after the flowers had been received by Vanessa Townsend?
Yes, it does.
And what type of activity is being reflected here?
So this activity, there are photos that are being uploaded, but there are also photos that are being sent.
Now, when it says photo, does that differentiate between an actual picture and then screenshots of text messages?
It does not differentiate.
And during this time frame of all of this activity on the Michael Shaver Facebook account, are there large number of photos and shared, basically screen captures of text messages between Laurie Shaver and Jeremy Townsend sent to Vanessa Townsend?
Yes, there are.
Moving on to page 31 and 32 of the summary, what is the activity?
So it's very similar. You have logins. This one says that there were 40 photos that were sent, 8 photos sent, another login, 16 photos sent, 29 photos sent, 30 photos sent.
Who takes so many photos?
Pages 33 and 34 of this is still all the same day as the previous page?
Yes, it is.
All right, and what is the activity here?
44 photos sent, 29, 15, 31, 44, 31, 27 photos sent.
And moving on to page 35 and 36, are we seeing activity both on Michael Shaver Facebook and Laurie Shaver Facebook utilizing that same IP address?
Yes, we are.
Now, all of these pages that we have gone through here during this time frame, all of these IP addresses are consistent.
Yes, they are.
On both accounts.
Yes, they are.
37 and 38, what information, first of all, what date time frames are we talking about here?
April 22nd, 2016. This is the 23rd. This is the 24th.
So this is basically everything that we have here as far as once this activity heightens up is from April 16th to April 24th. That's all this activity is just over a month.
Correct.
Now, on April 24th, does Laurie Shaver's account start utilizing that same IP address that we've been talking about the whole time again?
Yes, it does.
And the is there a entry at approximately 2,100 hours?
Thank you, Suze. I can feel it tinkle when she looks at me.
That is close in time to each other.
Yes, there is.
And what is the time difference between the activity on the Michael Shaver Facebook account and the Laurie Shaver Facebook account on April 24th?
So this is about 2,100 to 2,100, so within minutes for the Mike Shaver, and then Laurie Shaver's account is the 2130, 30 minutes.
So approximately with 30 minutes gap for these two profiles to be accessed from the same IP address.
Correct.
Which means we're in the same area.
Connected to the same network, yes.
That flurry of activity over that week where you kept on saying this many pictures, how much actual data are we talking about that was sent to Vanessa's house?
There were approximately 500 images that were sent, 40 of which were.
I haven't taken 500 pictures in my life. How the F do you get 500? That's why I'm.
This woman is a weirdo.
Yeah, 500. I need a Michael Proctor investigation on that phone. How many nudes was on that phone?
Probably a lot.
I like her now.
Photos, the rest were screenshots and text messages.
I'm showing you. Oh, let me show the defense. States PPP for identification. Showing you states PPP for identification. Do you recognize those?
Judge, I'm going to check as to relevance. Quick approach.
All right, let's have a sidebar. Thank you.
Yeah, we needed a sidebar.
Jeremy Townsend.
Welcome, Megan Fox Raiders, to this wonderful case. Right now, it's really boring because we can't see the evidence. They are digging through electronic evidence. This is the Laurie Shaver case. A lady who supposedly unalived her husband with a 38 to the back of the dome. Then she buried him 3 feet under his duck pond in the garden. But it gets a little complicated, so hang on for a while, right? Soon after at the same time maybe, she was dating Jay. She really liked Jay. She liked Jay so much, she has his name tattooed in her heart near her vajayjay. But Jay had a wife, and Jay didn't want to leave his wife. So that's why we're going through all this electronic evidence now, because Laurie then used Michael, her husband's phone, to write Jay's wife that Jay was cheating on her with Laurie. I told you it was a bumpy ride. But Jay, even though she had put a Jay near her vajayjay, Jay still went back to his wife. probably a good idea because Laurie is a little cray. Laurie then finds a new guy called Travis who helps her build a fire pit on top of where her ex-husband, well, not ex-husband, they never got divorced, but he's not walking the planet anymore, where he is underground, and she's still with Travis. She's then arrested 3 years after her husband disappears, and this is day 3. It's moving really fast. State will probably rest today, but there's a lot of incriminating evidence. They don't know which pew she used, but to begin with, she blamed Jay, maybe. Then she
she
blamed
said
her
Jay did it.
7-year-old daughter. Then during opening statements, she blamed her 7-year-old daughter and Jay.
Mhm.
So quite interesting. And we now have our sidebar number 15 of the day. So it's the sidebar with the JJ case. It's a funny little one. But sadly, we can't see the evidence presented because courtroom is stupid. So it's a little annoying.
1178. Who is that?
Jeremy Townsend.
1184. Who is that?
Jeremy Townsend and Laurie Shaver.
1192
Back one.
Jeremy Townsend and Laurie Shaver.
and 1193.
Laurie Shaver.
1196.
Laurie Shaver.
Now, is that all the photos that were in that folder?
No, it's not.
That's just some of them right now to get rid of this.
Correct.
All right. Now, also contained with all that information, you had mentioned there were screenshots of text messages.
Yes.
You would like her, Megan, because there is a kind of a hostage video where her attorney and her sits on a dock begging for money. And it's some of the most cringe thing. And he ends up by saying, well, I'm a defense attorney. I don't make boatloads of money like those personally injury attorneys. So if you ever run out of cray girls to cover, I know you and Talk have been doing great. You have had a lot of great content lately, but look into Laurie Shaver. She's a peach. Thank you, Jess. Make sure you hit that like button and make sure you first subscribe.
I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. We'll put that in the next time that you're going to testify. Now, the last message from Michael Shaver's Facebook account to Vanessa Townsend, when was that posted?
The last message was.
No, it wasn't her who left the dead cow. That was way before. That's just a neighbor who know how decomposing tissue smells because someone else had left a dead cow. But yes, she abandoned a horse when they got thrown out the house.
The end of 2016.
You must be very limber if you can get your feet that high. But yes, do it for content. Super chat it.
Was there a message on September 20th of 2016 from the Michael Shaver account to the Vanessa Townsend account?
Yes.
And what was that message?
The final message was on September 20th, and it says, "Hi Vanessa, how are you? Moving on looks good on you. Hope you and your son are doing well."
And based on your review of the Laurie Shaver Facebook records, were there pictures of the cement slab that was covering Michael Shaver's body prior to the September 20th date that message was sent?
Prior to, I believe so.
And what was the IP address associated with that?
199.116.175.8.
Now, did you also obtain bank records associated with Laurie Shaver?
Yes, I did.
Oh yeah, now we get into the bank records. She bought lingerie with his credit card in her name. Again, if you want to be a criminal, don't be a dumb criminal.
Showing the offense states LL. At this time, the state moves states LL into evidence with previously filed notice of intent to rely on business record certification and the appropriate business record certification attached.
Specifically approach.
All right, sidebar, please. Thank you.
Number 16. Right. And the defense attorney is either the most obnoxious person or the most condescending person in the world, depending on which witness is up there.
I'm showing you that the state news is pushing to have this admitted as certain business records.
All right, and yes, sir, number 40. So over defense's objection, states LL will be admitted into evidence as states number 40.
Showing states 40. Do you recognize those documents?
Yes, I do.
And what are those records?
These are Laurie Shaver's BB bank account statements.
And did Michael Shaver and Laurie Shaver maintain separate bank accounts?
They did.
And we'll talk about Michael Shaver's bank account when we call you later this afternoon. But was there activity contained within those records that show payments to CenturyLink, the internet service provider that we have discussed?
Yes, I was.
And also, was there any sort of records associated with the purchase of flowers around the time that the flowers were sent to Vanessa Townsend?
Yes, there was.
And publishing portion of that exhibit, the area in red, can you go ahead and state the date of that?
The date that the transaction posted to the account was on April 8th. Says BB&T check card purchase from You Flowers. Transaction date was April 7th in the amount of $42.98.
Now, is it unusual in your experience, both personal and in investigating financial crimes, that the actual purchase would come on the bank records on a date other than the purchase date?
Yes.
And the actual purchase that we are looking at here, is that consistent with the flowers that were sent to Vanessa Townsend?
Yes, it is.
The company that is reflected on there, is that a local business or is that an online company?
From You Flowers is an online company.
So whoever's purchasing flowers through that business would not be writing out a card or anything like that, but they include a message to be sent with the flowers.
Correct.
And then is that From You Flowers, do they then associate with local florists who do the actual delivery?
That's correct.
And is this transaction associated with the local delivery of the flowers sent to Vanessa House?
Yes, it is.
Nothing further at this time.
Mr. Wiggs?
Hold on 1 second.
Oh, just one moment, Mr. Wiggs.
Okay, and just to be clear, because I did mention the fact that we've been talking about Michael Shaver bank records, these BB&T records, do they indicate in there who this account belongs to?
Yes, it does.
And who does this account with the flower purchase belong to?
This is Laurie Shaver's account.
All right, thank you, sir.
Anything further?
No, sir.
Mr. Wiggs, please proceed. Thank you.
Okay, please, that's all.
Yes, sir.
Officer Strickland, did you do, officer or deputy, if you prefer to go by?
Either one.
Okay. Did you just handle the digital data that you just testified to in this case?
Did I handle it? Yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yes, sir.
Pardon me?
Yes, sir.
Who was that?
The entire team of investigators that were working this would have reviewed it at some point.
Okay. And you submit your documents and your reports in this case to Tamara Dale, correct?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
Who was the lead officer on this case?
There were several of us that could have been considered the lead detective.
Who did the primary report?
There were a few of us that did
Okay.
primary reports.
Tell me everybody that did who was the primary on the case?
Okay. I did very lengthy, several reports. Now Lieutenant Tammy Dale also did lengthy primary reports, as well as Detective Dorier also did primary lengthy reports.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yes, there were several.
Okay. Who all?
So I couldn't name them all without seeing all of them. I know Detective Clay Watkins did reports. I know that the initial responding deputies did reports. There were a multitude of people that did several reports.
Okay. Who handled all the digital data as to the officers involved?
So I can only attest to myself to maintain that chain of custody. Whenever I received those records, I was the one that was responsible for submitting it to evidence. Once it was put, typically back then, data was put on a CD. Once it was placed into evidence, I would have a working copy on my computer that would then be shared with the other detectives that were also working the case. But the records that as they were received in their original format, I was responsible for those, and I can't speak to everybody else.
Okay. Thank you. You had mentioned early on that there were, and I think this is the way you phrased it in your documents, that you were advised that the IP addresses were rolling accounts or rolling IP addresses, correct?
No, sir. What I advised is that CenturyLink only maintained subscriber records for one rolling calendar year.
Rolling year. Okay. Now, what happens after an extended period of time? What happens to the IP addresses that are on record with the company?
For CenturyLink, I don't know what they do with their records after a year.
Okay. Do you know whether they expire, they're deleted, anything that happens to them?
Sir, I do not know what happens to CenturyLink's record after a rolling calendar year.
What do you know about Facebook? What happens to their records after an extended period of time?
I don't know what their retention time frame is. However, we were able to go back at least 4 years in this case.
Okay. With Facebook?
Through Facebook, yes.
Okay. Now, does Facebook, do their records go back and allow you to trace the records they have back to the physical address of the individual?
Facebook, I do not.
Jamie,
Yes.
I might disappear for a second trying to update it because I lost connection to my own chat. I get error messages trying to write in my own chat. So I'll just let it run like we normally do and get out and get it back into StreamYard and see if that helps.
Okay, because I noticed it like stalled.
Yeah, nothing comes into chat. Maybe it's a YouTube problem, but I'll try and go in and see if it helps. But
Okay.
you have the con.
Believe collects address data.
Okay. The registered address for the IP is a
Yeah, I can't see any of the chats either.
These keep their records for perpetuity.
Okay. Do IP addresses change at all?
Yes, they do.
Okay. So IP addresses that may be out there for a period of time can actually change
Yes, they can.
and identify or use somebody else's address, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Which is why the date and time stamp that is on the activity is so important.
Okay. In this case, were you able to link up an IP address with a physical address and a device?
Not through CenturyLink, no.
Okay, not through CenturyLink. Were you able to link it up?
Marissa, did you block everyone just because you're mad?
I think it's back and running.
Yeah, but I've been trying to write in chat for the last 5 minutes. I haven't seen anyone. So it's been gone for 10 minutes.
I think it might be on your StreamYard side.
No, because now it's working, and I know because I talked to my mods, and they said they couldn't do it either, Jamie.
Oh, well.
On all channel, there's an
Jesus.
error. Thank you, Christy G. Thank you so much, Christy G. It gets so boring standing here and thinking, where's everyone? It's YouTube. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. Let's keep going. But we'll try to keep it going. Maybe we should just open the Discord chat on another channel. So if it stops working again, Uh, you can use the general chat on the Discord. I can see it there.
From Facebook to a physical address to a device.
I think I was, yes.
You think he was?
Yes, sir.
What do you mean? Tell me. What do you mean?
The same IP address that was used for Laurie Shaver's account was also used on Mike Shaver's account.
Okay.
An IP address is a unique identifier that works similar to mailing a letter through the U.S. Postal Service. So if your address was constantly changing, there's a possibility that you would not get the mail that was intended for you and vice versa. That's why the date and time stamp that's on IP address logs are so important.
Good afternoon, Helene T. You're getting in here right after chat starts working again. So nice to see you.
Let me look through this in a second. I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 35 for identification. Okay, look at that, please. On the first page, I think it's a business record certificate, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And on that business record certificate, where did that?
Anyone watching, it's on the YouTube side. It's not your phone, not my stream. It's a YouTube hiccup. So when you're done watching streams today, whenever there's a hiccup on YouTube, make sure you go and check all your favorite creators that you're still sub to them.
That come from?
This comes from Facebook.
Facebook. Okay. Does Facebook
They don't use Cellbrite in this case because they got it directly from Facebook.
identify with any degree of specificity what was sent or delivered to law enforcement?
They received a search warrant requesting IP address logs, messages, photos, transactional information, and other content for the Facebook unique identifier. In response to the warrant, Facebook, Meta, as they're called now, provided responsive records on March 8th, 2019, and those records were downloaded by me.
Okay. Does it identify the records?
It does by the Facebook user account number.
Okay. Does it identify the records themselves?
By the user Facebook identity.
Okay. On paragraph 4, does it not state the records provided were an exact copy?
Yes.
Okay. But it doesn't tell you what the exact copy was there, does it?
No, it does not.
That we made and kept in by our automated systems. Doesn't tell you what was there, does it?
Sure.
Okay. And in the course of regularly conducted activity, it's a regular practice of Meta. The records were saved in a format after searching Meta's automated system in accordance with the above specified legal process. The records were made at or near the time the information was transmitted by Meta, correct?
That's what it says, yes.
And then it says further, Meta no longer retains a copy of the records provided, correct? So they send you a certificate saying, we at some point in time had this data. We're sure at some point in time we sent you some accurate information, but we don't have the documents anymore to verify anything, correct? That's what you got a certificate saying, correct?
So Facebook records back in 2018, whenever we sent the search warrants,
Is that what you got?
Please allow the witness to finish answering. Okay, please conclude your.
whenever we received the records back in 2018 in their original format, Facebook records back then were self-authenticating. What that means is that the records were contained in a,
Please allow the witness to finish the response. Thank you.
This is beyond the scope of what I asked.
Okay, please allow the witness to finish. Please finish your response.
the records were received in a .zip folder because the files were so big that it had to be compressed to where it could be sent via internet portals. So whenever those records were received, they were in one.
No, that you can't verify that this is the data from that person. But I think as when he didn't understand what a messenger or an email was, the difference between those two, he doesn't understand the data point either.
one singular folder. That folder was then put through an algorithm that's called SHA 256, which generates an extremely long chain of letters and numbers that is unique to those records that were provided by Facebook back then. The records back then were self-authenticating. Facebook did not provide business record certifications back then because their records, according to Facebook, were self-authenticating.
Okay.
He's yelling because whenever he gets an answer he doesn't like, he starts yelling. He is, I think Jamie calls it a douche canoe. I don't use that kind of language. He goes from being the most condescending, I'm talking to you like this when I ask you a question, to yelling at people. And you don't know how he's going to approach the witness because every witness is in a different way. And he doesn't understand technology. So he just starts yelling. It's like your mom when you tell her, no, don't press the blinking icon saying you won because it's a scam. No, because it said I won. Mom, don't do it. But it said I won. It's the same system.
We're dealing with records today. We're here in court today dealing with the case before us, not what was received and sent in a prior procedure, correct?
No, sir, those records were the records that I received in 2018.
Right, but we're here today, and now the records don't authenticate what you declare was self-authenticating on a prior date, correct?
Your Honor, I'm going to object and reaffirm.
All right, come up for a sidebar.
Number 17.
Do you know any? You'd acknowledge, though, the records we just looked at doesn't contain any representation specific of any documents.
Hey, MBM. Let me give you the helicopter view. It's a lady might have unalived her husband, blames her daughter, blames her then boyfriend. Then boyfriend also had a wife who she then used her dead husband's social media to contact to try and get her to break up with the guy so she could be with him. Then she claims her daughter did it. The husband is found buried under a fire pit she built in the garden. She keeps this guy's testifying that her IP address and keeps hitting on both of their Facebook accounts well after he supposedly had moved to Georgia, as the first version of the story was. Testimony so far is she's kind of a douche canoe. She is made her husband estranged from the family, and the rest of it has been a lot. She tried to get rid of some pews. People thought it was weird when he said he was skipping. He used to work on monorails at Disney, and he skipped away from the job and said, "Just take my tools," because it was expensive tools. So that's the big thing. They can't tell which pew have done it, other than that they found the body buried under a fire pit she built, bloodstains at the house, and that she keeps changing her story about what happened to him. So it's primarily circumstantial in this case.
Does it, sir?
Sure.
Okay. And your testimony is based as well on a vanity name, correct? And that's a method that you use to verify the documents that you proclaim that you received, correct?
But JJJ is up next, Jamie.
Yay.
Can you please repeat that?
Yeah. You were talking about on direct examination that there's ways of verification, and one was the vanity name on the account, correct?
Sure, the vanity name is one of the unique identifiers.
Okay. Do vanity names ever change?
Vanity names that are internal to Facebook cannot change.
Can anybody use another person's account?
Absolutely.
Okay, so when you say, well, we're relying on a vanity name that other people have access to, that's not a real dependable or reliable system to identify documents in the user, correct?
The way that I answered that was based on the assumption that you meant that somebody could use that account. No, the vanity name is not recycled. It cannot be issued to somebody else. That vanity name is unique to that account forever.
Yeah.
Did you know Mr. Wicks used to sell insurance, Jamie?
Look at him.
That's where I saw him before. Thank you to all the people who told me yesterday. He used to be in Groundhog Day.
I
Have
love it.
access to that account,
Sure,
correct?
if they have access to the device that it's logged into.
If anybody within the residence has access to the browser or knows the password, they have access to that information.
Access to the device or knows the password, absolutely.
And as you sit here today, you don't know which, if any, of those multiple documents that were submitted were utilized by any other individual, correct?
No, sir, I know who they were used by.
Okay. Did you witness the person signing in?
No, sir, I did not.
Okay. Did you witness the person sending?
No, sir, I did not.
Okay. Did you witness who was at the house at all hours, all times?
No, sir, I did not.
Okay.
That's such a
And when somebody is at, as we spoke at like Starbucks and people are accessing one account, you would acknowledge other people can access that same account, correct?
Sure,
Accounts can be hacked, correct?
they can.
So out of the multitude of all the documents you've spoken to, you can't
opening statement here implied that the daughter thought she did it, but it was Jay, the guy who is on the VJJ, who did it. So it's going to be interesting when they call him.
direct attention to this specific document or this specific document and say that came only from Laurie Shaver.
No, sir, I believe I can.
Okay. In light of what you just testified to,
The
correct?
multitude of the evidence when taken as a totality and taken as a whole, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, did you request the Facebook records of Jeremy Townsend?
No, sir, I did not.
Do you know anything about Jeremy Townsend?
I've met him and spoke with him.
Okay. Did the state talk to you about Jeremy Townsend directly about Facebook?
No, sir, I have not.
That skipped a little bit. Why did it?
Explain that to law enforcement.
The portion of the flowers was not.
Anything to do with a crime?
No, sir, it did not.
Okay. And the flowers that have been referenced, they have all.
The state?
Yes.
No, sir.
Anybody in law enforcement mention his name to you?
In what capacity?
Well, I'm asking you.
Yes, sir. We were conducting a thorough investigation. It was obviously part of that.
Okay. Did you look into his records?
No, sir, I did not.
Did you look into Jeremy Townsend's bank records?
No, sir, I did not.
Okay. Was any kind of audit done of Jeremy Townsend?
An audit?
Yes.
No, sir.
Now, in the records that have been thrown into evidence at this stage, is there any statement in there, in any single record about commission of a crime?
No, sir.
Any statement within those records about any collusive effort to cover up a crime?
No, sir.
So these records allegedly deal with purportedly Laurie Shaver and Deborah Townsend.
Which records?
Most of the records that have been introduced here.
Deal with Michael and Lori, yes.
Okay. And yeah, there's no bearing on any crime or an attempt to cover up any crime within those records, correct?
By whom?
Whoever's communicating. Did you see any evidence or communications in those documents of any effort to cover up a crime?
No.
Any mention of a crime?
No.
And had there been, surely law enforcement would have made an arrest, correct?
Yes.
Now, we spoke about, or we saw messages dealing with flowers. Okay. Do you know the motive of the individual that sent those?
Who sent the flowers? Yes, I do.
Okay. Did it have anything to do with a crime?
No, sir, it did not.
Okay. And the flowers that have been referenced, they have anything to do with the crime?
Not directly.
Okay. They have anything indirectly to do with the crime?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you put that in your report? Explain that to law enforcement?
The portion of the flowers was not part of my investigation other than the finding of the records in the bank statement.
And was there some follow-up on the flowers that
Yes.
showed that the flowers were utilized in the commission of a crime?
Not in the commission of a crime, no, not directly.
What?
Now, CenturyLink, is that associated in a connective link with Facebook?
That was the internet service provider that the IP addresses using Facebook were accessed from.
Now, Facebook is one system, CenturyLink's a different system where the browser's connected to, correct?
With internet connectivity, yes.
Okay. Did you obtain a business record certificate from CenturyLink?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did that business record certify the reliability of any of the records that you received from Facebook?
Objection, Your Honor.
It's not the same thing. I know you're trying to sow doubt about all the technical evidence, but your internet provider and Meta is not the same thing. Meta has to keep a backlog on who accesses Meta. One of the reasons is because that's how they sell all your information. Where are you when you do certain stuff? But also, if you look at sites that's not that nice from certain places, he's really infuriated. He doesn't know what he's asking. It's totally not a Russian here. He'll probably he might have had an aneurysm listening to that guy.
We approach.
Sidebar.
Right? Yeah, I hope. Apparently, there is some tech guy on or girl on the jury, because this is just infuriating. The star on a chain makes me think of 5 years old playing cops. Oh.
Anybody personnel from? Have you seen any personnel from Facebook here today?
No, sir, I have not.
Okay. Have you spoken?
Is this the lawyer way of doing subject matter jurisdiction? Is this
That was dumb.
yeah, because is this as a business record?
Yeah, is Facebook here? Did they
Yeah.
come to testify?
Have you seen the state of Massachusetts in the court today? Jesus.
Spoken to anybody directly about Facebook?
No, sir, I have not.
Okay. Now, when we talk about routers as well, and people having access to a router, if somebody's in the vicinity of a router, they can proceed through that router if they can hack it or have access to it, correct?
As long as they have access to the passkey.
Right. Okay. So when we talk about the records that have been moved into evidence at this stage, do you know who, if anybody, may have had access at all hours, at all times, for any and all of these documents?
No, sir.
Okay, one moment, please.
Yes, sir.
So she had an unprotected router and her neighbor used it to send all of this to Facebook while she was just doing
I
that.
don't have any further questions. Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you. Redirect.
Those IP addresses where the information is shared between both the Michael Shaver Facebook and Laurie Shaver Facebook, does that go from November 2015 to November 2007?
Yes, it does.
And how many separate IP addresses were shared over those 2-year periods?
13.
And did that basically go that entire 2-year period, that there was continual shared IP address information with those 2 years?
That's correct.
So for an individual that was hacking into that, each and every one of those IP addresses, this would have to be a systematic 2-year period where they were trolling outside the Shaver residence or wherever that IP address would be in order to maintain that.
That's correct.
Overruled.
I'm sorry, what's your answer?
That's correct.
Now, when you were talking about information regarding criminal activity in those Facebook records on cross-examination, let me ask you this hypothetical. If an individual killed another person and had access to their Facebook account,
I think she's out on a $53,000 bond and had been out the entire time.
and then after the person was dead, proceeded to post on that Facebook account over a period of years to try to show activity that that person was still alive, would that be evidence of a crime?
Yes.
As it relates to potential hacking into someone's account, if someone in China is getting into Michael Shaver's Facebook account, would the IP address be the same one that is accessing the Laurie Shaver account?
No, it would not.
That would be an IP address somewhere in China.
That's correct.
The Facebook records that you obtained, on that business record certification, did that spell out the specific number that was associated with those records?
Yes.
And if you were to pull those records up on the various thumb drive, would that number be contained there as well?
Yes, it would.
When you obtained those records originally in 2018, did it contain that same identifying number?
Yes, it did.
And when you went back to Facebook because of the fact that the documentation for evidence and submission changed in the time frame that the investigation was going on, did you ask them for the same information that you received back in 2018 utilizing that number?
Yes, I did.
And did they give you that and give you the same information that you had originally?
They gave us the business record certifications, yes.
And was that tied together with the records that you already had obtained?
That's correct.
Nothing else, Judge.
All right, Mr. Wiggs. May the witness be excused from his subpoena?
No, he's going to be recalled.
All right, sir. So you're subject to recall. Thank you for appearing today. Have a good day.
Thank you, Judge. The state calls Tammy Dale.
Who?
Tammy Dale.
Oh gosh, dang it! Hurry up. You want Jay?
Brandy is throwing out a lot of false information. I love her, but that's twice we have been waiting for the JJJ. I like my new name for him. Nicola, that's an hour ago I showed my arms. Thank you.
Please come up to the witness stand. Please be seated. Make yourself comfortable. Let me know when you're ready to proceed. All right. Please state and spell your full legal name.
Tamara Rose Dale, Tamara Rosedale.
Please raise your right hand. I'll swear you in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you give today shall be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Not another
Please
one.
introduce yourself to
Yes, sir. Good morning. My name is Tamara Dale,
where do you work?
Lake County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you worked there?
Been there for 21 years.
And what is your current position?
I'm a lieutenant in criminal investigations. So unfortunately, lieutenant is a lot of administrative duties now, but I supervise detectives, specifically major crimes detectives, homicide, sex crimes, child abuse.
Back in 2018,
2018, I was a sergeant in criminal investigations.
and how did you become involved into the investigation relating to the death of Michael Shaver?
So the lead detective in that case, she moved positions just within criminal investigations, and I became her supervisor.
So this is going to be the lead detective. Yeah, then we are in the home stretch. Yes, you probably... Did we have the medical examiner? Yeah, we had the medical examiner yesterday. So they will be ending on J, probably.
That's a good one.
Her sergeant at the time, and the case moved with her.
When did that occur?
I don't remember exactly when she moved positions, but I think it was sometime in 2018.
Now, at some point, did Detective Thoria leave?
Yes, she did.
And when she left, did you kind of step up in order to take on some of the responsibilities of this investigation at that point?
Yes, I did.
How do you know if I block someone on accident, or how do you know if you block someone on accident? You can't know if I block someone on accident or on purpose. And I can't tell you, if you go into your backend on your YouTube in customization, there's, I don't know if it's on, I think it's on everyone's account. You can block people in there and then take them off the list. It's customization of the channel connections, I believe it is, or something like that, where you can go in if you think that you have mistakenly blocked someone.
Now, during the course of this investigation, were you provided with potential names from Mr. Wiggs that he thought you needed to look into and investigate?
We were, yes, sir.
And what were those names?
Jeremy Townsend and James or Jimmy Belu.
And were those individuals interviewed?
They were.
And did law enforcement go and look into the assertions made by Mr. Wiggs about them?
Yes, sir.
Now, in the sheriff's office, and when an investigation like this is being investigated, is there just a single detective assigned, or is there a team?
There would be a team. We have a lead detective, as I mentioned, but several detectives who work on a case of this complexity and size.
And basically everybody work together, so not everybody's doing every interview, but all the information is being consolidated.
Correct, yes, sir. The lead detective kind of organizes everything and delegates to some of the other detectives some duties.
Now, during the course of the investigation, was information about Michael Shaver's phone obtained from the service provider?
Yes, sir.
And what was the phone number of Mr. Shaver that was looked into?
Michael's phone number was 352-431-5121.
Okay. And what efforts were made in order to track down the information associated with that?
So we served a search warrant on his service provider, which was Verizon Wireless, and that was to get, of course, more information about the number itself.
I'm sure.
Excuse me.
Previously in Market States MM.
Choose it up, or we can get caught up.
This time the state moves states MM by way of business record certification and proper notice as the state's number 41.
Any objection?
No objection.
Without objection, states MM will be admitted into evidence of state's number 41.
I'm going to go ahead and present this to the witness. Can you go ahead and take a look at those records? Are those records associated with the phone number that you guys discussed?
Yes, sir, 5121.
Now, who actually is does that include information, subscriber information about who the account is assigned to?
Yes, sir.
And who is the account assigned to?
Laurie Shaver?
And were there multiple phone numbers associated with Laurie Shaver through this account?
Yes, sir.
Focusing first on the phone records associated with the 5121 number associated with Michael Shaver, what information is contained in those records?
So it has, we call it a call detail record, and it details date and time that calls came to or from this phone, duration of those phone calls, of course, who the subscriber is, like you just mentioned.
Does that include information that would include content of text messages or things like that?
No, sir.
The records that you have solely talk about actual phone calls then?
That's correct.
And when we are looking at the various phone calls, does it indicate incoming, outgoing, things of that nature?
It does.
And does it indicate call duration?
It does.
Now, throughout the records, are there numerous entries for calls that have a duration of 1 minute?
Yes, sir.
Does that mean that every call of that type of duration is necessarily answered by the person that is being called?
No, sir.
And if you were to look at the records of the person being called, if the call was not answered, would it then not register on their account?
No, it would not register on their account.
And the time frame for which you got the phone records associated with the 5121 number, what is that?
What we asked for or what we received?
Which you asked for.
We asked for August 1st, 2015 through March 9th, 2018, that being the day Michael Shaver's body was found.
And I want to go ahead and direct your attention to November of 2018. And if you need to step down in order to demonstrate to the jury the information that we have here, please, you might ask.
Please feel free to move about the courtroom.
Now, first of all, up here in this red box, what information is contained there?
It says detail for Laurie Shaver, which again is the person who pays for the phone. The person the phone is in and the name of the phone is in. And it says 352-431-5121, so the phone number.
Now, what is the last phone call that was made from the device associated with 512, meaning the last phone call out?
That's highlighted in blue at the bottom, and that's on November 7th, 2015 at 5:48 p.m.
And what the phone number was called on November 7th of 2015?
407-560-6999.
And did you do research into what that phone number went to?
Yes, we did. It's a landline for EdCot, which is where Mike worked at.
Now, the phone numbers and the activity that's highlighted in yellow, what phone number is the areas highlighted in yellow associated with?
That number is 352-431-0419, which, you know, at least at the time was Laurie Shaver's cell phone number.
And how do you know that?
We would ask, at the time, we would ask other people, what's Laurie Shaver's cell phone number?
Did you also obtain that information from Verizon and stuff?
We did.
And is that the other number back in November of 2015 that was associated with the Laurie Shaver account?
Yes, on the same account as this.
And can you go ahead and summarize the activity between the two numbers, the 5121 and the 0419 number for the month prior, the time prior leading up to the November 7th, 2015?
0419, yes. So this would be my cell phone, and these are all his incoming or outgoing calls to or from the 0419 number or Laurie's cell phone. And leading up to the month or the day that he disappeared, there were 19 attempted or completed calls to or from Mike's phone to Laurie's phone, to or from.
And you say to or from, so this is back and forth. He's calling her, she's calling back. There's at least some entries where they actually talk.
Correct.
And some of these entries that you're referring to here, here on these records, do they have that duration time of 1 minute?
Yes, several of them do.
And so some of the activity that we might see in the 5121 number, if it is a call out to the other number, but the duration is 1 minute, we might not see any activity on that other number's account.
That's correct.
Now, is there any activity on the 5121, the number associated with Michael Shaver's account after the November 7th, 2015?
There is one incoming call after that.
I'm going to go ahead and move to that. What call was that?
So that was on February 17th, 2016 at 3:47 p.m. an incoming call.
Right. And what was the number associated there?
352-787-2277.
And did you do research into where that phone number was associated with?
We did. It belongs to a loan company called Verizon Finance.
I'm showing you what's been entered into evidence at case number 29. These are the business records from Mariner Finance. And do these records reflect a phone call to that 5121 number on February 17th of 2015?
Yes, sir. 2016.
2016.
Yes, sir.
Did you also obtain the records for that second number associated with the account?
0419, yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, we did.
And then was that also obtained through the search warrant?
Through a separate search warrant, yes, sir.
Showing defense what's been previously marked as case exhibit NN.
Brandy was on the first day saying no one showed up for her. But again, her husband can't be there because he was testifying today. Her daughter will be testifying during the defense, which should probably start tomorrow. The state believed they could rest today. So other than that, I don't think she has much friends and family because she is kind of isolating all of her boyfriends from the family. Are we at a sidebar? No. What's happening?
I think they're trying to get evidence loaded up.
No, we are at a sidebar. I need a sidebar count.
Oh.
Number 19. We are almost caught up now. This is so infuriating.
You're at this on the state of Movie States and proper business record certification into evidence is the next numbered exhibit.
42. All right. Over defense's objection, states NN will be admitted into evidence as states number 42.
Going to ask that you go ahead and look at those records.
They were released, so he could have stayed, but so far only one connected to Laurie has testified.
Those are the records associated with the second phone number associated with that account.
Yes, sir. 0419.
And
Becca, none of it has been really, and but her lawyer doesn't understand it, and she claims that her mom was in Law and Crimes chat or Court TV's chat. So, but anyone could put up a name. I'm pretty sure that Puddletown isn't born Puddletown or christened Puddletown.
do these records also reflect activity to or from the 5121 number belonging to Michael Shaver preceding November 7th, 2015?
Yes, sir. Those are the highlighted portion.
And how long after November of 2015 do the records that you obtained associated with Laurie Shaver's phone number do they go?
These records went until April 20th, 2016.
And during that time frame between November of 2015 to April of 2016, is there any attempts to call the 5121 number associated with Michael Shaver?
Yes, sir.
Is there any calls to that phone number associated with Laurie Shaver from that 5121 number associated with Michael Shaver?
Yes, sir.
Now, during the course of the investigation, there was a phone number that was submitted through a Facebook message from Michael Shaver's account to Vanessa Townsend. Were you familiar with that phone number?
Yes, sir.
And was research and attempts to look into that phone number done through search warrant as well?
Yes, we did.
Showing the defense what has been previously marked for identification as states 00.
Same objection as to the certificate.
All right. Over. And are you moving the 00 into evidence, sir?
Yes, because of proper notice, business record certification and notice, we have moved states 00 into evidence as states number 43.
All right. Over defense's objection, states 00 will be admitted into evidence as states number 43.
Now, in states 43, what kind of records are reflected in that document?
These are called customer notes by Verizon. First one I came to.
And what type of activity is referenced there?
So it's kind of an ongoing narrative, I guess, typed by.
They tried to claim she was a witness on the first day before we started, or on the second day before we started, and said she didn't follow the rules of sequestration. But again, she's not being called as a witness. They have tried it with 5 different people. 2 of them weren't even witnesses, and the 2 who have taken the stand just testified, "Nah, I didn't do anything." So it's not working.
a customer service representative of activity on the account. Maybe they added a feature or took away a feature, things like that.
Does it also include information when an account holder does things such as changing a phone number?
Yes.
And is there record activity on that Verizon account for the 5121 number being changed at any time?
Yes.
And first of all, when was that 5121 number changed?
April 16th, no, April 6th, thank you.
Okay.
April 6th, 2016, 5121, which was Mike's number, cell phone number was changed to 352-801-0941.
And now, in order to have a phone number change that is consistent with the individual having the device itself to change the phone number.
Correct.
And the period of time that the phone number was sent to Vanessa Townsend, was that after that April 6th, 2016 entry?
That was 3 days later, I believe, on April 9th.
And how long did that phone number, that 0941 number, remain under Laurie Shaver's account?
That was for 10 days until April 16th.
All right. And what happened on April 16th?
So the number was changed again.
Okay.
On April 16th, 2016, 0941 was changed again to 352-431-8444.
And did you do any research into the phone number ending in 8444?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I'm showing defense was previously marked as State's Exhibit PP. Your Honor, at this time the state would move State's PP into evidence as a certified court file, court document from case number 2016 SC 1508.
All right, any objection?
No objection.
Without objection, state's exhibit, which is marked as PP for identification purposes, will be moved into evidence as state's number 44.
Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And what is that document?
Oh, it's a
Giggity
legal
over
document
people.
titled Notice.
Yeah, it's evidence people.
Giggity, giggity, giggity.
Current contact information.
And who is that notice of contact current information associated with?
Laurie Shaver.
And does it include her address?
Yes.
What is that address?
9850 Sandy Pines Road, Claremont, Florida, 34711.
And is that the address where the skeletal remains of Michael Shaver were found underneath a fire pit in the backyard?
Yes, sir.
And what is the date of that document?
Dated July 6th, 2016.
And does that document also include a phone number?
Yes, sir.
And what phone number is that?
352-431-8444.
The same phone number that the number originally associated with Michael Shaver had been changed to in order to contact Vanessa Townsend, and now changed again 10 days after that.
Yes, sir, to 8444.
During the time frame, you can go ahead and have that seat. During the time frame that Mr. Wiggs provided you with information relating to names he thought you needed to investigate, did he give you any information regarding Isabel Shaver?
No, sir.
And at some point after Laurie Shaver's arrest, did you interview Isabel Shaver?
Yes, I did.
And at that time, how old was she?
It was in 2018, and she had just had a birthday, so I think she had just turned 12 a few days earlier.
And in the course of your training experience, have you had training about how to interview children?
Yes, sir.
And that's an important skill involved with, obviously, child sex investigations. Have you ever participated in those?
I have, yes, sir.
And the also interviewed at the Child Advocacy Center.
Yes, sir.
And what is the Child Advocacy Center?
So it's a place where child victims or witnesses can be interviewed in a very friendly, child-friendly setting by people whose only job it is to interview kids and talk to them, get information, useful information, truthful information, but without re-traumatizing them in any way. And the setting is completely, like I said, child-friendly. They sit on couches, they have toys they can play with, there's cartoons in the waiting room. So basically, completely the opposite as than us taking them to the sheriff's office and putting them in one of our waiting rooms.
Let's clarify, when you interviewed Isabel Shaver, where did that occur?
That was at their house. And did I say I interviewed her in 2018?
When did you?
I interviewed her in 2020. If I got the year wrong, I'm sorry.
I might have been. But that was not done at the sheriff's office.
No, that was at her house. Yes, sir.
Now, not getting into any specific things that she said at that time, did she bring up anything related to her involvement or Jeremy Townsend's involvement that required further investigation by the sheriff's office at the time she gave either of those interviews?
No, sir.
Are you aware that there have been discussions through Mr. Wiggs about Isabel Shaver's involvement in this case since the time that you would have interviewed her and the child advocacy interviewed her?
Yes, I am aware.
At the point that those statements came forward, were charges already pending against Laurie Shaver.
Yes.
And the any other talking of witnesses would be done through the state attorney's office at that point.
Correct.
And Miss Isabel Shaver, are you aware, was deposed through the course of the pending case?
Yes, sir, I'm aware of that.
As part of your duties, are you a firearms instructor?
Yes, sir, I am.
And what kind of training do you have to do to get that type of role?
So initially, it's a 40-hour FDLE course through the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, and then there's continuing courses that you take to keep that up, and you have to continue to teach each year in order also to keep that up.
Now, as part of any sort of firearms training or defensive tactics, our law enforcement officers or anyone else trained in a similar fashion, trained to basically try to make headshots in stressful situations?
No.
Why not?
Well, we're trained, if we're using deadly force, it's to eliminate a threat. And in a real world situation, unlike at the range, your threat is going to be moving, most likely. You're going to have adrenaline going, maybe other things going on. So unlike at the range, maybe you're a really good shot at the range and you can make a headshot, but you don't want to miss what you're shooting at in real life, because if you miss, two things are going to happen. First of all, you didn't eliminate your threat, and they're going to keep doing whatever they were doing. But also, we in law enforcement, we're responsible for every round that comes out of our gun. And in a real world situation, if we miss what we're shooting at and it hits someone or something behind that person, we're responsible for that. So I say all that to say a head is a small target, or like on TV, if they shoot a gun out of someone's hand, that's a small target. So we're trained to shoot what's called center mass, which is right in the middle of the largest target, which is the person's body, because that's a large target. And if you miss by a few inches, you still hit the person's body that you're aiming at, and you stop your threat, number one. And number two, you're less likely to miss even under stress, and even while that person's moving, and maybe also you're moving and everything else is going on.
Is anyone trained with that type of training that would be just ingrained in second nature?
Absolutely. That's day one of firearms training in the police academy. And every time we train on the range, unless we're just playing around, we're always shooting center mass on the target.
Nothing further, Judge. We'll go ahead and move the screen on the way.
All right, thank you. Mr. Wiggs?
Thank you, Judge.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, officer.
Good afternoon. I erroneously said good morning. I'm sorry.
Pardon me?
I erroneously said it was morning. Good afternoon.
You replaced Lisa Dorier on this case, correct?
I would say I replaced her. She left, and I helped out more after she left, but
You inherited the job, correct?
I wouldn't say that either. She was a detective. I was a sergeant, but I helped more after she left.
Okay. You graduated, my understanding, from and went to work immediately with the sheriff's office, correct?
I'm sorry, you said I graduated and
I got your certificate for law enforcement. You went to work with SO, correct?
yes, this is my first law enforcement job. Yes, sir.
Right. You only worked with law enforcement there, correct?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, not to belittle you in any respect. Okay. Do you
You went to work with law enforcement, not to
Here he
belittle
goes
you.
again. Here he goes again.
When you put on that, I'm talking to the baby voice, you are belittling her. And what's wrong with going to school and then get a law enforcement job? I went out of baker school and got a job as a baker.
Yeah.
Not to belittle you, but you are not that high earning defense attorney like me.
have any certificates or training in digital?
No, sir. No, sir.
And so you relied on other people within your report to gather information, correct?
Within my report together information.
You were the case officer, correct?
I was never the case officer, no, sir.
Is your name on the incident report?
I did supplements. I don't know what you mean by.
Okay. That's your deposition. I took.
And the audio's run again.
That's her report and the data. She submitted it. Madam President.
Yes, sir.
Showing you, let's spark this, I guess, Madam Clerk.
Okay, not that.
All right, sidebar, please.
Yay, number 20. Now I have to do math when I do the next number. Sidebar number 20 of the day. That's 4 sidebars an hour, roughly.
For an hour.
It's Florida. It's the main hub of excitement powder from Colombia. So just like in Denmark, everyone gets a bag of Lego for Christmas. In Florida, you'll automatically get a bag of excitement powder.
Excitement powder.
Yeah, because you get really excited.
Ew.
Even looks condescendingly at the prosecutor.
He's just, look at him.
I really don't like him.
Like, you
I
cannot
don't think the
honestly
judge
believe
likes
that your client is just this innocent little woman. Give me a break.
Officer, showing you a document. Is your name anywhere on or within that document? What are you looking at?
I'm looking at page 1 at the moment. Oh, you talking about this post-it note?
No, under a document that you've been handed.
His name is Wix, not Vex.
Looks like just a bunch of typed notes. I don't know what it is.
Are those notes your notes?
I think so. I don't.
Do you bring any records with you to your deposition?
I think I did.
Okay. What would you have brought? Do you recall?
No, I don't recall.
Okay. Does that document that you hold in your hand, does it contain your name anywhere within it?
I'm looking.
Take your time.
Yeah, she's no pushover.
Yes, sir. Come on.
21, Jamie. 21.
Jeez. These OPs.
This is getting ridiculous. Do I think Laurie is doing her attorney? No, I don't think so. Yeah, just tell her which page it's on. She has to read through the entire case file.
Well, why is he like getting all mad at her? He's like, what are you looking at? She's like, the page.
I really don't. I don't know what.
Officer Dale, do you submit probable cause on the case?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I really don't
Yes,
know
on probable
whether-
cause.
So when I asked you earlier, is your name on any of these documents you sent me, correct?
Yes.
Your name's on the probable cause, correct?
Yes, it is.
You made. Officer Dale, do you submit probable cause on this case?
Yes, I did.
Okay. You see your name in there?
Yes, on the probable cause affidavit.
So when I asked you earlier, is your name on any of these documents you sent me, correct?
Yes.
Your name's on the probable cause, correct?
Yes, it is.
You made the decision to arrest Laurie Shaver, correct?
I signed the probable cause affidavit.
Okay. Is it fair to assume you were the officer making that decision?
No,
Decision.
I signed the probable cause affidavit.
Somebody tell you?
No. No.
Okay. You signed that affidavit after receiving other information from other people, correct?
Yes, yes, that's correct.
So it was based on your.
Why is the audio all of a sudden bad again at the pulpit? It's so weird.
conclusions that Laurie Shaver was arrested, correct? You're the one that vouched for the arrest.
I signed the probable cause affidavit.
Okay?
Yes.
And based on that probable cause, Laurie Shaver was arrested?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. As his case was going about, was it listed as a cold case file at
No,
the time?
it was not.
Okay. How long was the investigation?
Well, from March 2018 to September 2020 was when the arrest was made. So
Did you ever put it on the internet as a cold case file?
we put it on the internet. So we have a section called cold case files. Yes. And I know what you're talking about, but that's the only place we had at the time to put cases to get more information. But we did not determine it to be a cold case, because a cold case is something in our eyes where we had nothing else, no other information to go on.
So you weren't hot on the trail of Laurie Shaver or any particular individual when you put that on the internet, correct?
I don't remember exactly the time frame that happened, but I think we were waiting on more information to come in, search warrants. I don't remember exactly what date that happened. Maybe you do if you have that in front of you.
Okay. When that was put on the internet, were you holding any evidence, any inference that you could suggest guilt to Laurie Shaver?
I don't remember when that was put on,
Okay.
what we had at that time. Yeah, I don't know when it was put on the internet. It was just basically to get out to the public, to get the case out in the public's eye, to get tips if anyone had any. That was our intent.
Off-white.
Were you aware of any internal conflicts within the Shaver residence?
Michael and Laurie Shaver?
Correct.
Yeah, I heard of some of the witnesses described. Of course, this is third party because I never spoke to Michael or Laurie, but having both of them described some domestic violence incidents.
In the probable cause affidavit, was there a decision that you signed off on to arrest Laurie Shaver for the charge of murder?
Yes,
And that was your decision, correct?
I signed the affidavit.
Okay, when
Yes.
you say you signed the affidavit, was somebody telling you to sign the affidavit, write murder in there and write accessory?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I just want to make it clear that I wasn't the only detective working on this.
Yeah,
It was
was somebody-
it was a group effort. Absolutely not. No, sir. No,
Let me finish my question.
Not what I'm saying.
Somebody telling you to-
No. No.
Is that your decision?
It was my decision. It was a group decision, but I signed the affidavit. Yes. Yes.
Your decision, but that you were part of that.
Yes, absolutely. It's not a Declaration of Independence. We cannot sign it.
Dude.
Sorry?
Gosh. So that's not the only thinks it is. He's just like, was it your decision?
Yeah, and it's because, well, it was in the cold section, so you just made up evidence against her. Is that what he's going for?
Yeah.
I really don't. I don't with this guy understand anything he's trying. And that yelling and he used the baby voice and then he starts yelling at them. As a juror, I would find him quite unhinged.
Yeah, a little bit.
Uh,
But yeah, I'm really confused on where he's trying to go with all of this.
Yeah.
That was the point.
So I signed it.
Recall me taking your deposition?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did at any time you believe when I was taking your deposition that I may be there trying to trick you, or did you assume that?
Oh, yes, I did.
You did?
Yes.
Okay. And thus, if you assume such,
Did she say yes?
your answers. Okay. Did at any time you believe when I was taking your deposition that I may be there trying to trick you, or did you assume that?
Oh, yes, I did.
You did?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
And thus, if you assume such, would your answers maybe possibly be guarded?
I'm sure they were. I don't recall specifically.
Yeah, I appreciate her honesty. Yep,
You,
I
along
did.
with others, made the decision to charge Laurie Shaver with the crime of second degree.
Sidebar, please.
So I actually find her refreshingly honest when some of the other officers we've been with the defense dementia, she doesn't get that. She's just honest and say, yeah, I was guarded because I thought you were
Yeah.
going to trick me.
Yeah, I thought you were going to trick me.
He's mean, Baker. I won't say I told you so. Well, you're mean, Baker, for implying I couldn't see it myself. Jamie, all of your mean girls are really
Coming
coming to the
together?
channel.
Yeah.
We should just call it Beauty and a Budget.
That you and others evidently within the department proceeded to
And
charge
rudeness.
and arrest Laurie Shaver, not charge, but arrest Laurie Shaver with the crime of murder in the second degree, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know what the elements of murder in the second degree are?
Yes, Your Honor. Sidebar, please.
And I can't even get where he's going with the questions. They are up there objecting to him all the time. The Michael Jordan offside bars, number 23.
Oh, she.
Michael Jordan was the reason Patrick Ewing never won a championship ring.
Oh my god.
So I don't like him that much.
Patrick Ewing. Beef.
Patrick Ewing was a great center. Played for the New York Knicks. Those 1.5 seasons the Knicks were anything good. The other day I said he was okay. Yeah, but I liked him a little bit. Well, I never said he was good. I said he did okay with the opening statements, and well, I've also made a lot of fun of his checkered pants in the hostage video. Becca, I think Lally was more consistent with where he was going with his questions than this guy is.
Don't give Lally any credit to anything. He's just trying really hard to be like, you don't know anything. That's what it feels like to me. Like, you just don't know anything. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and you
don't
couldn't
know
figure
about
it out.
tech.
So you just
You don't know
blamed
about
this
emails.
poor
Yeah,
woman.
this poor woman's just getting blamed because you had no idea. That's what it feels like he's doing, but in a really stupid way.
I'm not going to respond to that one, Russian, but an update from court. When he asked if she thought he was trying to trick her, and she said yes, a juror laughed and looked at the gallery to see if we were laughing too.
Well, it was a good
Sir,
one.
I was
I didn't
asking
expect
you
it.
about the decision that y'all made internally. And as to the crime of murder in the second degree, are you aware of the elements?
I can't quote them, but generally, yes.
Pardon me?
I can't quote the statute book, but generally, yes.
Okay. What are the elements for the crime of second degree murder?
So, unlawful taking of a human life, not premeditated, obviously.
I'm sorry.
I said obviously not premeditated.
Okay. What's her? Tell me. So there's a death, correct?
Yes.
By another individual,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Anything that surrounds the nature of the killing?
You have a statute book?
No.
Well, I can't quote it. No, I can't.
Okay. Okay. And you understand that all elements must be established.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Pardon me?
Yes.
When you went through this case, did you consider elements or issues of self-defense, whether there were any?
What do you mean, did I consider them?
Yeah. Well, there was a death.
I'm unaware of any.
Okay. Were you
That's what you do,
aware
though,
that there
right?
was a death? Did it enter your mind that possibly there was an issue of self-defense involved?
But I'm unaware of any.
Okay. Did you investigate to determine whether or not self-defense was plausible in that case?
I'm pretty sure self-defense gets thrown out the window when you bury the person in your yard after.
Well, it's probably a really, really good idea not to lie about what happened for 3 years. Thank you, Danny T, for the contribution to my leg massage fund. We talked about this the other day. He's going to claim DV self-defense, and now he's doing it, and it's more stupid than I thought it would be.
Well, yeah. Did you ever think self-defense was a? No. You lied for 3 years.
Laurie claimed he left the house.
Yeah.
In a DV, you would say he came at me. How did you pew him in the back of the head? Well, he was running backwards towards me.
I guess.
He was spinning around, flailing. Maybe you could kind of come. Sir, I know there's a mention of cows today, but don't throw that BS at us.
Jesus, I know.
I think you should score an interview with Laurie when she gets off. But I can't go to Florida. And if I go to Florida, Danielle will stabulate her before she gets to talk to me, because Danielle knows what kind of woman she is.
Oh,
In this case.
Laurie's going to suck you in, you know that.
I'm unaware of any. No one made a self-defense claim. Michael was shot in the back of the head. I don't know of any self-defense. No one made that claim.
Okay. Well, you wouldn't expect me to come in and make it, correct?
Of course she would. If your client claims self-defense, why haven't you, as a lawyer, gone to the police and said, hey, she did it in self-defense? Because then your entire case would be different, because in Florida and many other states, it's perfectly legal to defend yourself. But you have proved none of it. You have blamed it on a guy who might be special forces you wouldn't name. You blamed it on a 7-year-old girl. You blamed it on the JJJ. And now it's self-defense? Oh. Yeah, even Sarah Boone called 911. Come on now. Thank you, little D.
No. I would expect someone to make it if they acted in self-defense. That's how it normally occurs.
So let me ask you then, if you see certain elements, but nobody's suggesting self-defense, do you just presume guilt and make the arrest?
No.
Okay. Did you do anything, therefore, to see whether or not there was any issue of self-defense?
If no one suggests self-defense, how would I know there's self-defense?
Okay.
And I didn't see any evidence of self-defense. And normally in self-defense, you don't bury the body in a backyard. I've never seen that before anyway.
She's listening to me. Yeah, usually you don't bury that body.
Yeah.
And then lie for 3 years.
I love everyone in chat is, why would you hide the body if it's self-defense? And this is just, oh, did you look for self-defense?
There was testimony, I think, that you provided about address changes, correct?
When?
Earlier on direct examination, you looked at some documents, saw a certificate of an address change?
I think it was just declaring that was her address at that time.
Okay.
I think is what that was.
Okay.
Did the address change have anything to do with the homicide?
I don't know what it had to do with it. It was a court document.
Pardon me?
I don't know what it had to do with it. It was a court document declaring that was her address at that time and phone number.
Okay. Would that suggest to you a homicide?
No.
Okay. You also testified about documents of utilities in somebody's name, correct?
Cell phone bills?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would that suggest a homicide?
Just a cell phone bill by itself?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Is a cell phone bill with anything else going to suggest a homicide?
Now you're just getting irritatingly stupid. She told you earlier it's not just one thing, it's the totality of the evidence because they don't have it on tape, they don't have a confession, so they have to put the puzzle together. And now you're going to take up every single little piece of the puzzle, say, was it this piece that did it? No. Was it this piece that did it? No. It's all the pieces you.
I mean, it's the contents of the record, not
Okay.
the cell phone bill.
Those records don't suggest a homicide in any form or any manner, do they?
The cell phone bill?
Yeah.
It's what they show, and not by themselves. No, of course not. It's the totality of everything.
This is like Sarah Boone wanting her video thrown out.
Your investigation never uncovered any kind of financial motive as a motive for any homicide, right?
No. No.
Did you put that fact in your report?
That we didn't uncover a financial motive?
Right.
No.
That wasn't in there?
In my report or my PC affidavit?
In the report.
Stop talking to her like
We
that.
didn't uncover a financial motive, no. And
Now, do you think it's important for the jurors and everybody that you document all facts, including exculpatory evidence?
yes, absolutely.
Okay. That would be an exculpatory factor, correct?
Yes, but
No financial motive in this case.
well, I mean, I wouldn't put in there. I would have to put then. I didn't uncover a financial motive. I didn't uncover this motive. I didn't uncover that motive. So I can't list every motive that I didn't uncover.
But that's often a primary factor in a homicide, is it not?
It doesn't matter. It's the same with if you come to a crime and they used a bicycle as a unaliving tool. You don't list, they didn't use a knife, they didn't use a pew-pew, they didn't use a rope. You just list what they use. You don't go in through every motive and said, nope, this one wasn't the motive. Neither was this one. It wasn't this. We believe it was this one. This is so stupid, Jamie.
I know.
And you said when you saw the begging video, he seems like a stand-up guy.
I did not ever. He seemed like a weasel.
Yeah, that would be ridiculous, and the judge wouldn't approve it. You're filling an affidavit with this isn't the motive, this isn't the motive, this isn't the motive. Oh.
Well, you don't have to prove motive, but yes, if you have one, it would be a primary factor.
Don't give her room to like ruin you, sir. Yeah. She's right.
And in your investigation, you discovered that the body had been dead through your correspondence and with other witnesses for several months to years, correct?
I believe that is what the K-Phil lab said.
Okay. So we've heard testimony in this case about people getting emails on this date and the last time Michael Shaver showing up at work on this date or that date.
Mm-hmm.
Those don't suggest homicide, do they?
I mean, well, his cause and manner of death is what suggests homicide.
I mean, the fact somebody doesn't show up for work is not an element suggesting that Laurie Shaver murdered him on any particular day, correct?
No.
Now, you understood, pursuant to the requirements, that the death had to have been the criminal act of Laurie Shaver, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Or somebody acting on her behalf, correct?
Correct.
Now, you weren't present during the death of Michael Shaver, correct?
No, I was not.
You can't testify what happened during that incident, can you?
No, sir.
Can't testify who was present, correct?
No, sir.
Can't testify who was any aggressor, correct?
No, sir.
Can't testify whether or not somebody was exercising self-defense, correct?
No, sir.
Don't start throwing that in there.
Neither can you testify as to who, if anybody, shot a gun.
I wasn't there, so no, sir. If that's what you mean.
And yet such facts are imperative as essential elements to the crime of homicide, correct? That the criminal death occurred by a particular individual. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
It's
Those are essential elements that are not revealed in any report, correct?
Well, I never witnessed any homicide. I've never witnessed a homicide.
But those facts are not gleaned by other evidence within this investigation, correct?
I believe that they are.
Okay. Now, there was a point in time in which law enforcement responded to the residents in reference to a well-being check, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, were you there for that?
No, I was not.
Okay. Do you know how many officers were there?
I don't. I think at least 2, but there may have been more. I don't know.
Now, when law enforcement went there for a well-being check, you can't make any declaration they were hot on the trail and were making headway on that case, correct?
Correct.
And in fact, they went to the residence as a consequence of a call from the Scott Amatuccio, correct?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Amatuccio never indicated he had witnessed a crime, correct?
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he was working on a suspicion, correct? That something may have happened at that house.
I guess you could call it that. Yes, sir.
Yeah, because he hadn't seen his friend in some time, correct?
He had other suspicions, but yes, including that.
And Mr. Amatuccio stated he hadn't seen his dear friend for some years, correct?
Since the end of 2015.
Did your ears go up when you heard that he hadn't seen his friend for several years? What his relationship was with Mr. Shaver? Did that spark your suspicion at all?
I wasn't involved in the case at that time.
Okay.
Oh.
If you were involved in the case at that time, would that raise some suspicion in your mind?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, but it quickly went from one person hadn't seen him to several people hadn't seen him.
Okay. So it became a numbers game?
Well, yeah, obviously.
Your words, not
More
mine,
people
but
came out.
one person hadn't seen him, and then his family hadn't seen him, and then no one. We couldn't find anyone who had seen him.
You know what his relationship was with his family?
Specifically, no.
Okay.
Good, Sharon.
But I know the point is, people he worked with, absolutely no one had seen him. No one. People who saw him at work, no one. Since the end of 2015.
Okay. My understanding was your position that Laurie was arrested because it was your feeling she was key in covering up the body that was found on the property, correct?
That's part of it.
Okay. When you made that conclusion, did you reach any particular conclusion based on any physical evidence that Laurie knew he was buried there?
I'm sorry, you say that Laurie knew he was buried there?
Right.
Physical evidence, no, sir.
Pardon me?
No, sir. Physical evidence, no.
Okay. So you had no evidence to suggest that Laurie knew his body was there, but basically she was just the closest one to the body, correct?
That's part of it, but not all of it.
Okay. So she's closest to the body. She gets arrested.
No, sir.
Okay. Well, you say that's part of it.
Well, that is part of it. It was on her property and his property under a fire pit that she built, but that's not the only reason she was arrested.
Well, what was it? What else am I missing that you can fill me in on that factored into that decision?
Well, she was the last person seen with him alive.
Does that mean she murdered him?
Objection, Your Honor. Let her finish the question. The prosecution needs to step in now and break up his stream.
Let's stop there.
We are taking each thing I'm going to say and ask, does that mean she murdered him?
Yeah.
Each thing, no, by itself, no. I would never have arrested her for any one thing I'm going to say, no, sir. No.
So she's the last to see him. Does that mean she murdered him?
By itself, no.
Okay. Let's go to the next issue. What's the next issue that factored into that conclusion?
So she was the last person, she left with him. The two of them left together. Last person to see him that we know of on planet Earth, alive. She immediately started lying about his whereabouts.
Okay, stop. Right there. Is Laurie sitting here today charged with lying?
No,
Okay.
But
Is that an element to the
brings-
crime of murder?
no.
What other factor did you rely upon?
She immediately started lying about his whereabouts to everyone. She took 2.5 years lying about to everyone his whereabouts, which delayed his friends and family reporting him missing, which delayed discovering his body, which delayed discovering his homicide and investigating his homicide. I don't know who that would benefit other than the person who killed him and put him in the ground.
Okay, let's stop a second. You initially began your testimony and say that you were aware there were issues in the Shaver family, correct?
Yes.
That there were tensions within that, correct?
Yes.
Did it enter your mind, considering those facts, that maybe Ms. Shaver was happy he was gone?
Well, that could be, except that he wasn't gone. He was dead and buried under a fire pit.
Well, he wasn't there bothering her.
But he wasn't gone. He was murdered under a fire pit.
Do you have evidence that Laurie Shaver placed Mr. Shaver under that fire pit?
Well, everything I'm listening to you
Okay.
is what led me to conclude that no one else did.
I'll let you think.
No, just everything I'm listening.
Everything you're listening to. Okay. And as one of the agents on this case, you reviewed what was gathered from that fire pit, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you have personal knowledge that not one single item in that fire pit linked Laurie Shaver to that pit.
Physical evidence, you're correct, yes.
Okay. There's no forensics, correct?
Correct.
Did that factor into your decision to charge Ms. Shaver with homicide?
Correct, yes.
The fact there was no connective link.
Yes, but by that logic, then we can never charge anyone.
You think?
Well, by that logic, yes, there's no evidence against anyone. There's no forensic evidence. There's no anyone DNA in there.
For instance, do homicides occur where people leave knives with fingerprints on them?
Yes.
Okay. Do they leave a gun registered in their name where ballistics link up to that gun?
Have you ever heard what the statistics are in America for unsolved unalivings? Because no, there isn't always a roadmap with an X on it saying, this is the person who did it. You can go here and find them.
Mm-hmm.
This is such a stupid argument that if I was on the jury, my eyes would be spinning backwards now because I'll be rolling my eyes so hard that you could pull one of my ears and it'll stop like a one-armed, whatever it's called.
Well, he wants to pick it apart, but when you look at the bigger picture of everything that was going on, clearly she looks very guilty. I mean, of course they would. I mean, you know.
Yeah, again, it took them 2.5 years to charge her with it.
Yeah.
They weren't just going around saying, "Oh, we got a phone record. Now we're going to do it. Oh, we didn't find any DNA evidence. Now we're going to do it." It's everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lies
Okay.
and-
Were those present in this case?
No.
So when you say you could never charge somebody with such an offense, okay, that's not an accurate statement, is it?
Well, you're making it sound as if there's no DNA in that pit with his body, which there wasn't,
Okay.
then we can't charge anyone.
Let me
Thank you
ask
for
you,
having that sort of
was there any DNA on his physical body?
No.
Thank you.
Any hairs from her? With the,
From no one, though.
okay. There were hairs found in the pit, correct?
Not foreign to him.
You don't know about that?
Not that we could test on anyone else, that could compare to anyone else.
So Laurie's closest, so Laurie gets charged, correct?
All I'm saying is, by your logic, if we find no physical evidence in with his body, we can't charge anyone, which would mean we could never charge anyone. So I mean, I think you would agree that with his body being on their property, it would have to be someone who knows him. He wasn't robbed on I Drive and by a stranger, and they brought him back to his property and buried him.
You don't know who was residing in that residence, do you?
Oh, well, I wasn't there, but I know who
You
says
don't know how the altercation occurred, correct?
I wasn't there.
Correct.
Correct.
Oh,
Well, I agree that he can get her to say those things, but it's still, I mean, in all reality, it
then
doesn't make
if
sense.
all of this happened, why didn't Laurie come forward and say, "That's how the altercation happened, and this is the people who
Did you
lived there"?
see or uncover any photographs of Laurie Shaver having anything to do with the patio itself?
The fire pit or the concrete, because those were built at separate times.
Did you see anything, any images or photographs of Laurie pouring the patio?
Not pouring the patio.
Anything to do with the patio?
I think she had,
That's why I want an objection from the state, so she can get back because she's getting angry now.
Yeah,
some photographs of Bags of cement on her Facebook, yes.
Correct?
Okay.
Okay. And where did you see those images?
On her Facebook?
So Laurie Shaver is going to pour a patio, and she's got on Facebook photos of the concrete she's going to do it with. Correct?
I saw photos of bags of concrete on her Facebook, yes.
Did you make a note of that in your incident report? This may constitute exculpatory evidence suggesting this person didn't know their body was in there?
I don't know what you mean.
Usually go about advertising that they're going to put a patio over a body, do they?
I don't know. This is my first case with a patio over a body. It was in my report, so whether you call it exculpatory or inculpatory, I don't know.
I mean, he's doing a good job at getting her all flustered. She needs to dial back a bit. I mean, that's what he wants to do anyway.
In fact, you would acknowledge that that doesn't suggest guilt.
What doesn't suggest guilt?
The fact that she had anything to do with the patio and that the concrete had been posted.
Here's what I find out about that is she had a 5-acre property and she put it over his body. So that would...
Do you know what the ground looked like
Before what?
the concrete was laid?
No.
Do you know what was going in? That's not possibly before.
I was told a duck pond.
Okay.
Yes, like once or twice.
Did you put that in the report as potential exculpatory evidence?
It's in the report about the duck pond. It's not in my part of the report.
Do you make any notations that that would be evidence potentially for consideration?
That what would be evidence?
Pardon me?
That what would be evidence? I'm sorry.
That this patio was put there for a reason specific, not necessarily to cover up a crime.
I don't know her reason for putting it there.
Correct, correct. But you made the decision, one of the people made the decision to arrest Laurie Shaver,
Yes.
implicating she had knowledge of the body being there, correct?
Well, yes.
Yes. Knowledgeable, in fact, of the fact that there was another ulterior purpose for the existence of the ground prior, correct?
I'm sorry. Say that again. I apologize.
And at the same time, you knew that the ground had another purpose, intended purpose, correct?
We were told that Mike was making a duck pond.
Correct.
Yes, we were told that.
Now, it's my understanding, or that you have a belief that the crime can't be committed just on a bare suspicion, correct? Of guilt.
Right. Yes.
Okay. I mean, that's your feeling, correct? Some bare inference, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yet, when you arrested Ms. Shaver, there was no evidence that you held establishing any knowledge on her part that the body was under the patio, correct?
Well, to me, her building the patio over the body was what did it for me. If you call that exculpatory, that's our agree to disagree moment, I guess.
Okay. Do you disagree with that statement?
Yes, you just said
That her building the patio over his body means she did not know it was there, is what you're saying?
Okay. Have you made a statement inconsistent with that in the past, is what I'm asking you?
Inconsistent with what?
What you just stated. I'm referring you to your deposition. I'm going to refer you to page 30, line 14 through 16. If you'll read that,
Line 14?
14 through 16.
Question, but how do you know that Miss Shaver, back to my question, had anything to do with filling in that pit? Answer, with actually putting the dirt in. Question, correct. Answer, I don't.
So you don't know whether or not she had any knowledge of anybody in the ground, or had any partaking in the placing of the body in the ground, correct? By your prior statement.
What, with filling the pit?
If you had any knowledge that the body was in the pit, or partake in placing the body in the pit?
Can I see that again? I don't think that's what that said. I just want to see it again. I apologize. May I?
That's okay.
Because I was reading rather than paying attention.
No, that's okay. Tell me.
My brain will only do one thing at a time.
No, that's fine. It's late in the afternoon.
no, she's a man.
And, I mean, without reading the rest for context, it says had anything to do with filling in that pit.
Yeah.
And I said, with actually putting the dirt in.
Question was, but how do you know that Ms. Shaver, back to my question, had anything to do with filling in that pit?
It doesn't sound like you're asking, did she know the body was
further.
Okay.
With actually putting the dirt in there, you asked me? And I say, correct. And your answer? I don't. Correct? So
Yes.
it's not a matter that the pit is in her yard. You know there's got to be some evidence to establish that Ms. Shaver had knowledge of the body and the ground, correct?
It doesn't sound like that's what you're asking me there without reading more context. I apologize.
Correct.
But you're asking about filling in the pit?
Now, Mr. Camuccio was asking you about information gleaned from myself or anybody else. Did Mr. Camuccio relay to you any conversations and facts I had relayed to him about the minor child?
Just general facts of her story, yes.
Okay. And a revelation of what had come forward
Yes,
through
sir.
that minor?
Yes, sir.
And when you met the child at Child Services,
Children's Advocacy Center?
yeah,
Yes,
it
sir.
wasn't that the child misrepresented anything. The child didn't want to speak to you, correct?
I didn't speak to her at the Children's Advocacy Center. She was interviewed by the professional interviewers
And no information was gained from that child, correct?
about,
Anything. Did she relate to them one story that changed from another?
I mean, that's a broad statement. She didn't say anything about shooting Mike.
Right? She didn't say anything about anything, did she?
What do you mean she didn't say anything about
Do
anything?
you know anything?
So she was the one on the grassy knoll outside the Dallas book depository. Because she didn't mention she wasn't in Dallas and didn't do it to Kennedy. That's the logic he's using here. If you didn't say it, it means you could have done it and didn't do it. It's Jamie, he's getting annoying.
He's old annoying.
I think they are looking at the jury and the jury has their eyes spinning backwards, and that's why they let them go.
Saying that the child.
Yes, but
Sidebar, please.
Finally. Are we going to hit 25 sidebars today? I think we're going to hit more because now
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, this is actually. Oh, now I remember my Roman numerals. Number 24.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's if the
This minor child didn't fail to provide a statement. The child didn't give you any statement, correct?
it sounds like you're saying she gave a statement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is the statement materially different, or did the child just say she didn't? It was personal.
Materially different than what?
What was later revealed?
It was materially different in that she did not say at the Children's Advocacy Center that she shot her dad, if that's what you mean.
She didn't want to talk about it, correct?
About
The event.
shooting her dad. I mean, they didn't ask her, did you shoot your dad?
Did the child indicate in any form or manner she didn't want to talk?
About some things, yes.
Snipping needs to stop.
Did the state converse with you at any point in time about any conversations that I may have communicated to the state from that child?
Not in detail, just generally what she said. Yes, sir.
And whatever the state revealed to you, did you follow up on whatever was communicated to you by the state?
No, by that time, Laurie had been arrested and charged, and the state would be responsible for. If they wanted me to interview her, I would have, but it's my understanding they deposed her.
In this case, there was no, we've covered the grave, but there was no evidence that you're aware of that was unturned from the residence implicating Laurie Shaver.
No.
And you've testified previously that you take the position that there must be some evidence, not it's simply a bare suspicion.
Yes.
Okay. And you understand there was no link ballistics, correct?
No ballistics, you said?
Correct?
Yes, sir, I understand.
You were aware of that,
Yes, sir.
correct? Was there any DNA within the residence that linked Laurie Shaver
No, sir.
to this crime?
No, sir.
Right. There was no digital device recovered in this case, was there?
No, sir.
You would agree with me that creates, to a degree, a lack of evidence,
Oh, physical evidence.
no physical evidence,
Yes, sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you learn in this investigation how Facebook maintains or takes care of their IP information?
No, I didn't do anything with IP.
Okay. Did anybody supply you information about the IP information from Facebook?
Jamie is a mod. Just don't ask her to do mod duty because she never does that.
Excuse
I don't remember
me.
learning anything about IP.
Okay.
The only mod duty you do is when you kick people out of here.
Yeah.
And then I have to go back and unblock those 25 people you blocked on the channel.
Oh, whatever.
Right? Had Laurie Shaver posed as Michael Shaver on Facebook, you would agree that doesn't mean Laurie Shaver murdered Michael Shaver?
By itself, no.
No. Okay. Do you know whether or not
Most
anybody in the
personal.
house could have posed as Michael Shaver?
Well, it only benefited Laurie.
Did it?
Correct.
Okay. You were supplied information about Jeremy Townsend, correct?
Correct.
And you were aware that Jeremy Townsend was in a relationship for some term with Laurie, correct?
Correct.
And if Jeremy Townsend was in the residence, did it enter your mind that possibly Jeremy Townsend had been on the router and the computer?
Well, why would Jeremy Townsend try to break up his own relationship with his wife?
Okay. Let me ask you. You can't segregate some emails to the exclusion of all the emails. For instance, you can't say, this is from Jeremy, this is from Laurie, this may be from Jeremy, this may be from Laurie. Correct?
I don't know what you mean.
You know whether or not you have evidence that every single email document that's been moved in evidence came from Laurie Shaver exclusively?
Do you mean Facebook?
Facebook, excuse me.
That every single one came from Laurie exclusively. So I guess if I say no, then by what you're suggesting, both Laurie and someone else, potentially Jeremy, was pretending to be Mike, then sure, two people could be pretending to be Mike.
You would agree with me, that's a reasonable inference, correct?
I don't think so, but okay.
The other individual was involved in the homicide.
I don't know. I don't know.
You never looked at anything, any accounts of Jeremy Townsend, correct?
I didn't, no.
Did anybody?
I don't think so.
Did you meet with anybody from Facebook or CenturyLink?
No, sir.
Do you know whether any of these records are linkable, connected to one particular person, location, or device?
No, I don't know.
Do you know how long Facebook saves IP addresses?
I didn't deal with IP addresses at all, sir.
Pardon me?
I did not deal with IP addresses at all.
Is there any information in your report dealing with that?
I don't think in my report I didn't deal with IP addresses.
Let's see if it's in there. I don't know if this is going to be numbered. Did you talk to, who was the IP investigator? What's his name? They just testified, do you know?
Detective Strickland, Corporal now Strickland. Yeah.
Talk to Strickland about his findings?
I'm sure we talked. Yes, sir.
Did he talk to you about revolving IPs?
We talked. Yes, sir. But I didn't deal with it. I didn't research that at all.
Probable cause.
Yes, I signed the probable cause.
Okay, and you factor in other people's findings as well, correct?
Yes, sir.
You testified on behalf of the state about, and I think I covered this, but about utilities being listed in Laurie's name, correct?
The cell phone bill
Well, utilities, I think, on the residence, correct? And other information,
earlier today.
correct? Do you know how long they've been listed in Laurie's name?
Earlier today, I talked about the cell phone bill.
Okay, do you know how long that's been in her name, or if it was ever in Michael Shaver's name?
If I had the records, I might.
Well, she didn't know. She just didn't want the cadaver dog near that area or the ground. And again, it's not that one point, it's the totality of the circumstantial evidence that clearly points to her, because the IP addresses, the financial transactions, the contact of Jay's girlfriend from his social media, the changing of his phone number after he is unalived. It's circumstantial, but the totality is pretty clear.
But she said that it
Did you, in your
was
investigation, go
Jay who did it, and they were told to leave. So in my eyes, that means that she was there when it happened and knew.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, but that's the problem, because now her story is they were having a DV incident when someone did it. So she must have known he was gone. Then why didn't she report it? Why did she keep lying about it? Why did she keep keeping up appearances that he was alive? Again, it's just stupid.
back to discern if they were ever in Michael's name?
We asked for, I think we got from whatever date we got from. I don't have it in front of me, but from the dates that I had, it was not in Michael's name.
Okay, so you just assumed because they were in Laurie's name, something happened.
No,
Okay.
I don't see what you're saying there. No, sir, I didn't. A lot of husbands and wives have their cell phones in one person's name.
Now, you didn't look into the history of Mr. Townsend, it's my understanding, because you felt it was years later and a lot of the records had been gone or were gone in that time frame, correct?
Are you talking about Facebook or?
Facebook records.
I don't know why they didn't.
Pardon me?
I don't know why they didn't.
Okay.
I didn't deal with Jeremy.
45 of your deposition. Line 15.
Sorry, page 45.
Look at page 45. The question was asked of you, did you ever look into the history of Mr. Townsend? Page 45, line 13
Okay.
14. In your response?
Okay.
Because it's not working on the jury. All of us, we're 195 people here right now. All of us is sitting here saying, this is so stupid. So is the jury. And they are looking at the jury and seeing, no, he's not landing the blows. He's throwing a lot of haymakers, but none of them is landing. And they can go back on redirect and say a lot of good things to take. I think they're just setting him up so they can beat him down.
Yeah, you also have to remember that a lot of what we were doing was years after, a lot of records that we requested were gone because of the time frame.
Okay, so Laurie Shaver's records were reliable, could be looked at, and could be brought before the court in your mind, but Mr. Townsend's were unreliable, correct?
I didn't say unreliable, but
Is that what you said?
it said we're gone, didn't it say?
Unreliable?
Oh,
Gone?
I'm sorry. My memory's unreliable, sir.
Well, this afternoon, I'm tired too.
I'm sorry. I know I just read it.
Page 45, line 15 through 18.
It says,
You want to read that aloud?
I will. You also have to remember that a lot of what we were doing was years after, a lot of records that we requested were gone because of the time frame.
Okay, so Mr. Townsend's records were not available. They were gone for events occurring within the same time frame, correct?
I don't know. I didn't deal with Mr. Townsend at all.
That was the answer you supplied, correct?
Okay. Yes, sir. I did.
And did you speak to Kendall Davidowski?
Yes.
Okay, and who was she?
She at one time dated Mike Shaver.
Okay, did you look at her computer?
No.
Her digital data?
No.
And that again was because years had gone by
No.
and hers wasn't available.
I don't think that's why.
Okay, we'll refer you to page 61. Line 10 through 12.
Again, this is a couple years afterwards, so a lot of things are lost, but I felt like we were comprehensive in what we did.
Okay, so you didn't look at Miss Davidowski's because of age, correct?
Assuming that's what we're talking about.
That was your answer, correct?
I don't know what you asked me there, but yes, okay.
As such, correct?
If that's a question you asked me, you just had me read the answer. But yes, okay.
Give the jurors a comfort break at this
Very
time.
well, Judge.
So let's.
A welfare break.
I want Jay. Like, quit it.
I want with JJ on the stand saying, I drew that picture, and I want them to show a picture, and I want it to look kind of like.
Oh,
It
yeah.
must look something like this. That's the only thing I want from the JJJ is the hand drawing he made that the tattooist put on her.
I just want to hear all the craziness that is Laurie. So I hope he has some good stories.
Yeah, because he's taking it out of context all the time. But again, he's doing what he has been doing all the time when there's some factual evidence. He is throwing everything at the wall, the ceiling, the floor, and then jumping into a lake, grasping at a straw. That's and he's becoming unhinged with his questionings. What time is it there? It's 4:00. I had to cancel my trip to Rome because I have an inflammation in a muscle in the leg, so I'm not feeling better. No, but I am on 600 milligrams ibuprofen, painkillers, and some numbing cream. So it'll probably be over soon. But I had to cancel all of my hotels, all of my trips, and none of them were refundable. So I'm gonna have to turn up the grift a lot on you people because I have to pay all the money I just lost. Well, I didn't lose them. I just didn't get anything for them.
Oh my gosh, you guys! There's a class called Basic Grifting. Should we all learn how to be grifters together?
Martians flew over one night and put him under her fire pit, and then the Chinese hackers got into her Wi-Fi and doctored those her Facebook post and the text messages. See that? That would be a better explanation than what he has been going with. Oh, a barbed wire heart. Oh. Remember how cool Pam Anderson was in barbed wire? Don't call me babe.
Oh, my Lord.
Well, normally they go to 5:30 in this one. Yes, numbing cream. And on the thigh, Danny, you dirty mind. I think if we can get Sarah to come out to you, might make you feel better. I feel, yeah, it's okay. I'll go when we have our next 5-year reunion in 5 years. They are having a welfare break.
A welfare break.
Yeah, my OnlyFans will be going live again. How did Baker get the closing statements? Well, I'm a pro, you know. Now, normally he'll end at 5:30.
Yeah. So we have like an hour and a half still.
Yeah, but again, this is just getting stupid. Oh my. I don't think I can advertise it on YouTube's. 1 more hour. No, I think an hour and 30 minutes still. Yeah, Jenny, it's 4:00 Eastern Standard Time. Your time, subtract 5 hours. Oh, yeah, subtract 5 hours from Ireland. So, but normally we'll go to 10:30. No, yeah, 10:30 your time.
Yeah, I agree, Jess. If they're close
Yeah,
and they have the witnesses here, he might just let them finish out.
yeah, but who do we need? The JJ. This is the lead detective. We have the ME. We have the
Yeah.
technical evidence. We only need the JJ now.
Yeah, but he might take a while because I mean he's a big part of it because they're saying that he did it.
He's not that big a part of it. You
He's
just
the
asked,
guy.
did you bang her? Yeah. Did you tattoo it on her?
If he
Or
asks
did you
that question, I'm out of here. Did you bang her?
That's the most important thing. 6 hours from Iceland.
Yeah, but
Oh, we have a person from Iceland, Jamie.
Mr. Guy, what's his name? Wiggs? Mr. Wiggs?
Mr. Wicks.
He doesn't seem to be very efficient, so he likes to ask a lot of
Well,
questions.
no, but he had let a lot of people slip by today. Hey, Vinnie Morgan Thomas. Glad to catch alive again. Why do I feel the defense is messing with my mind? Because he is today. Today he's been really screwy. They said they would be done by Friday. Defense only have 5 witnesses. I'm not sure if Laurie is going to testify or not. State said yesterday they suspected that defense would be starting tomorrow. So if he can just get the lead detective off the stand, we will get to, and I think the JJJ is going to be the last one. She bangs, she bangs, she moves, she moves. Well, not at the same. Well, kind of at the same time, but there's that Townsend guy, Jeremy Townsend. That's with JJJ.
That's Jay, yeah.
And then there's Baloo.
But
They were
he's not.
kind of at the same time. Just
He was
and-
only a couple months, and then he was like,
Yeah,
"She's a
and-
lunatic. I'm out of here."
and then Travis was in the picture.
Mhm.
Well, sadly, I
I don't-
just canceled the tickets, but I had the best hotel just across the square at the Fontana di Trevi. So
I could be wrong, but I don't even think they're calling Baloo because he wasn't really relevant. He
No.
was the first one because he was the first one. Then it was Jay, and then it was Travis, and Baloo was just a couple months, and then he was pieced out.
woohoo! Crash Daddy is finally with us. What did I miss? A defense attorney who started out by claiming that the ex-boyfriend did it, then the daughter did it, then the ex-boyfriend and the daughter in combination. and now it's a DV incident that no one mentioned was a DV incident, and why didn't the police investigate it as a DV incident when no one had told them it was a DV incident? And she said, but you didn't tell me it was a DV incident. And then he says, but why did you think she was guilty? On the totality of the evidence. And then he listed every single little thing and said, is it this part? Is it this part? No, it's the totality. Is it this part? No, it's the totality. It's been a long last hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but JJ must take the stand.
Yeah, he will.
What does Laurie and a screen door have in common? They can't get banged? No, that's the opposite.
Varies.
The daughter will be the first victim. First witness for the defense, according to rumors, which is Brandy Churchwell, and she's been lying to us today, Jamie. Marissa will be writing her sternly worded email whenever I figure out how to set up a group email. I don't have the program she told me how to set up a group email in, so I can't do that. Her no-no zone has to hurt with all the banging. All the tattoo. I don't know. I've seen under boobs done. I have my own boob tattoo. That's kind of sensitive, but I'm thinking in the downstairs area, it could be a little sensitive. I don't know. They both bang. A sliding door doesn't bang. That slides. Yeah, it's kind of like Lally with providing 75 witnesses where possibly 10 of them had any relevance for the case. It's just throwing something there so the jury sits there and think, what? Maybe he's right. Yeah, but I don't know how to pronounce the RH sound. Ryan. Ren. I've seen that Cersei. That's not how it's spelled. I should go to Wales sometime, Jimmy.
Sure, you should.
We could meet in Wales.
Oh, yeah.
It's in
You're
the
there.
Atlantic Ocean. I'll fly over, you fly over the Atlantic Ocean. We meet in the
okay.
middle. Well, kind of
Cool.
not that much in the middle. Yeah, Marissa, go get yourself a blueberry muffin. You like those.
They're good.
She's a doorknob.
Oh, because everybody's had a turn. That's
I
a
did
better
show
one.
my boob tattoo on one stream, and I look like an idiot because I have to pull down my. Yeah, I didn't know what a bifold door is, so I have wondered that myself. But I'm thinking permanently inking his name so he can read it when he's making the impression of a guy coming out of a swimming pool.
Oh my God! Stop! Stop it!
What?
No! I'm ending the show.
I don't know, Jamie. Why? You know I don't speak English. No, because I think bedazzlement and sand is kind of the same thing. It sounds, let's do it on the beach. It's just no.
You can't even go to a beach like fully clothed without getting sand everywhere. I can't imagine. Ugh, that'd be gross.
Yeah. I'll never be able to watch The Jungle Book again without me thinking about her banging the bear.
God.
Hey, Mowgli. Do you know what I found in America? She's such a easy woman to get into
All
the
right,
pants
proceed.
of.
So that
Ah,
the
I
juror
need to work on that
certified,
one.
You may proceed.
Please support.
Yes, sir.
Having brought
Oh.
Townsend to your attention, you were advised, I believe, that this man had been in the military, correct?
I'm aware that he was.
Okay. Special forces?
That's what I heard.
Okay. And yet still that didn't trigger anything in your mind as to maybe the dispositional attitude or mindset of Jeremy Townsend to look into, correct?
We did look into him.
Okay. You can't say you looked into this man in depth, did you?
We did look into him. Yes, sir.
Ma'am,
We did look into him. Yes, sir.
you look into him in depth?
I believe so.
You believe so?
Yes, sir.
You never went through any financial records of Mr. Townsend, did you?
No.
And we just heard your testimony a moment ago that his Facebook data was not looked into because you perceived it as too age old and insufficient to be able to evaluate, correct?
We didn't look at his Facebook data.
Right. Yeah, Ms. Shavers was, correct?
We looked at hers. Yes, sir.
Right. Now, let's talk about the fire pit in the house. You are aware that there's considerable distance between the house and that fire pit,
Celestial, it's a day ending in Y. Of course, Zack is caught in trouble.
correct?
I don't know what you call a considerable distance, but yeah,
From the pit to the house,
we did. I don't know the distance, but yes.
okay? Did it factor into your mind before you signed that probable cause affidavit that somebody had to get the body to the grave?
Yes.
Did you factor in the physical strength of any and all possible suspects?
Yes.
We don't know.
Okay. Do you know the physical abilities of Miss Shaver at that date and time?
Meaning what?
Her physical abilities.
I know her approximate weight. I know that everyone said she was athletic. She went to the gym. Muscular is how she was described to me.
Did you look at the grave site, evaluate the depth, and think about the height of the individual and anybody that may be standing in there and digging it?
I was told it was about 3 feet deep. I never saw it.
Okay. Did you link that up in your mind possibly with Mr. Townsend versus Miss Shaver?
Yes, and
Welcome, Folstrom. We are watching the Laurie Shaver case. A lady who is accused of pew-pewing her husband in the back of the head, bury him in the garden, and building a patio on top of him. But welcome. Please enjoy chat, and don't take too much offense when Jamie yells at you, because she's that type.
Hi, Volstorm.
and I fully believe Miss Shaver could have drug a body, presumably on a tarp, across grass, that distance to the grave.
Okay.
Yes.
And reaching that conclusion that you just did you ask for any specific analysis on the tarp to see if there was any chlorophyll or any ingrained
Chlorophyll.
soul within the tarp that would suggest movement by Miss Shaver?
Chlorophyll, you mean from grass?
From grass?
No, sir.
Yes.
No.
Did you do that?
No.
Did you point that out in your probable cause affidavit?
No.
Why didn't you list all the things you didn't find?
Why didn't she list the chlorophyll?
Yeah, why didn't you list that you didn't find any chlorophyll on the top? Why didn't you list that it was a moonless night? Why didn't you list that you listened to Dancing Queen by ABBA when you drove out there? This is just getting ridiculous.
And I believe
That's in grass.
when when we discussed this, it was your position that really this case could be evaluated just based on common sense.
I don't know if those were my words. I don't recall.
Okay. I'll refer you to your deposition.
Okay.
The direct yell to line 50, bottom, page 5, line 1, I think it is.
Page 50, line 1.
I think it's page 50, I think it's, and carrying on to page 51. So it'll begin on the bottom.
Oh, okay. I think at some point common sense has to come into play.
Yeah, okay. So that was really the factor you relied upon and signing that affidavit, correct?
I mean, again, this is one line in an entire depot. Can we,
Go ahead, read it.
how much of it do you want me to read?
Well, was that a factor that you relied upon in signing that probable cause affidavit?
I mean, yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, because we know there was no digital data in the house. We know there was no DNA in the crime site, correct?
Correct.
There were no forensic. We know there was no ballistics, correct?
Correct.
We know there was no eyewitnesses, correct?
Correct.
So in your conclusion, absent all that evidence, it was your position, just rely on your common sense, correct?
In so many words, I guess so. According to my depot, yes, sir.
Again, I want you to tell me, when was the last date that a call went into Epcot from Michael Shaver's phone?
November 7th, 2015.
Okay. One moment, please, Judge.
We might be done.
You also made the decision to charge Laurie Shaver with the accessory after the fact, correct?
Don't yell.
Yes, sir.
That's not the problem, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In your investigation, did you ever determine who the primary offender was that she was assessing?
I believe it was Laurie.
So Laurie committed the crime and Laurie's assessing herself?
Sidebar, please. Thank you.
We hit 25, Jamie.
What?
Woo!
Oh.
Woo! Woo! Congratulations and salutations. Becca, thank you so much for the Baker Vacation Repay Fund. Gracias.
Gracias.
That's thank you in Spanish, Jamie.
I was waiting for you to say it.
Everyone is always bringing up, do she know they have gators in Florida? And she lives, isn't Little D, isn't that an area with gators in it?
What do you mean? Florida? Like, isn't Florida just an alligator? I mean, they're everywhere.
Crime of the accessory after the fact. Would you tell us what the elements of that crime?
Helping essentially clean up the crime or cover up the crime afterwards.
Covering up the crime. Okay. For another individual?
Could be.
Okay. And you're assuming Laurie, this is my understanding, is covering up the crime for herself?
I believe so.
Okay. Okay. So, what was the aid or assistance that she was offering herself that you uncovered?
Well, covering up the crime for 2.5 years and disposing of the body.
So you assume that she disposed of the body and you've offered no evidence in support of that, correct?
I believe she did.
Okay. And in all the digital data we received, do we see messages from Laurie Shaver to Laurie Shaver offering to cover up a crime for herself?
Yeah. No, sir.
we see any communications from Laurie Shaver or presumably Michael Shaver offering any evidence to cover up any crime for anybody?
No.
Thank you.
Finally, Zach, be nice to people. Don't run my entire chat off. Since we started, we had many more when Megan Fox came over here. But I think it's I can see when people go home from work and go pick up their kids. But thank you, Zach. Not for running off people, but for the contribution.
Anything further, Mr. Wiggs?
Nothing further. Thank you, Judge.
Redirect?
Please be brief.
Lieutenant Dale, when you refer to totality of the circumstances, what are you talking about?
Well, the entire case, everything in the probable cause affidavit. In other words, as I pointed out, if you take any one line in the affidavit or any one thing, no, I wouldn't have arrested Laurie for any one thing, for her phone bill, for any one thing. But you have to look at the case as a whole and put all those elements together.
And then when pushing this case together as a whole, is that where the common sense analysis that you were talking about?
And that's what I meant by that. You have to look at it globally, not microscopically at one thing, because even I would agree, no, you wouldn't arrest someone on one thing, on any case.
There was discussions about why you didn't look at this as a self-defense case.
Yes.
And when you are investigating self-defense cases, are you generally dealing with someone that is shot in the back?
In the back of the head, no, sir. No, sir.
Are you dealing with individuals whose body has been hidden for over 2 years?
Never.
When you're dealing with self-defense types of allegations, are they normally reported to law enforcement?
In my experience, they've always been reported.
And so once again, going to the totality of the circumstances and all the evidence from all the various sources that you reviewed, is that why that you excluded self-defense as a potential issue in this case?
Yes, sir.
Now, as it relates to getting records for individuals, the Facebook records and other records obtained in this case, were many of those obtained by search warrant?
Yes.
And when we talk about a search warrant, what has to go into a search warrant?
Probable cause.
Meaning what?
We have to have a reason, a probable cause reason, to look into that person's personal stuff, their Facebook records, their phone records, whatever.
And so there are prohibitions from law enforcement just getting records from anybody that they might want to get records from.
Correct.
Do you have to then, when you're talking about probable cause, does that have to go to a judge and be approved?
Yes, it does.
And all of that was done for the records, that the Facebook records in this case.
Correct, yes, sir.
But at the time of the investigation, did you have any probable cause to obtain records for any other individual?
We did not.
And is simply Mr. Wiggs telling you, hey, you need to look into Jeremy Townsend, probable cause in order to get his Facebook records?
No.
Is Mr. Wiggs telling you, hey, you need to look into James Bel, probable cause to get any records from him?
No.
And also, going back to common sense, if they now have a single source as the potential person involved in this, why would he give you two names?
In my honest opinion, a wild goose chase.
Okay. Now, when you are looking at evidence of someone actively covering up a crime, is that evidence that they were involved in the crime itself?
Yes, sir.
Nothing further, Judge.
All right, Mr. Wiggs?
Yes, briefly. Ma'am, when the state just asking you some questions here, talking about common sense and having to procure warrants and the need to get a judicial order, you told me you looked in sufficiently to Jeremy Townsend, correct?
Yes, sir.
I had advised the state attorney's office and law enforcement some information. regarding him, correct?
You gave us his name. Is that what you mean?
Right.
Yes, sir.
Right. And in the investigation that y'all were doing, you did come up with an
So if I just get into trouble with the law, I can just tell, hey, go look at Let's Go Brandon. And they say, why? I think he did it. They can subpoena all his records and this is G's Pete's.
no male contributor at the scene with regards to DNA, correct?
In the house.
Right. So did that trigger your mind? Hey, maybe what Mr. Wicks is saying, we need to look into this guy, Jeremy Townsend?
No, because we know Jeremy was in the house.
Okay. So we get a DNA report indicating Laurie's presence is on the ground and a track, and there's another individual that's a male that we can't account for. I won't take any effort relying on this common sense principle to see who that was.
Well, first of all, I think the DNA wasn't able to be compared, if I remember. I'd have to look at a report. Second of all, if it turned out to be Jeremy's or anyone's, it would just show they were in the house, which we know he was in the house.
And the location potentially of a conflict, correct?
In the house.
When he was in the house, just at some point.
In the house.
Okay. You don't know where any conflict occurred, correct?
No, but it would show he was in the house.
Okay. But you don't know what's going on in the house, correct?
Okay, well, you're telling me we have her DNA in the house, so that
We have a
doesn't mean she did it,
providing information to the state, correct?
which I'm finding out months after I arrest her.
Through the state, correct?
Okay, yes, sir.
Did you ask Jeremy Townsend for a swab?
We had nothing to compare it to.
See if he'd send it off to FDLE and see if they could get a match?
They had nothing to compare it to. You can't just say to someone, hey, give me your DNA. Why?
Yeah.
Well, we don't have anything to compare it to, but we're still going to send it into the database and just see if you did any crime. Do you know how many constitutional rights you would... I know a defense lawyer should be fighting for his client, but he shouldn't do it like this. This is absolutely stupid. Why didn't you just take every man within 45 kilometers DNA and send it into on a DNA sample you couldn't isolate enough to use as a match?
I mean, this is how you do it when you don't have a case, really.
Yeah. Oh.
We had nothing to compare it to.
Did you try?
We had nothing to compare it to.
Ma'am, did you try?
We had nothing to compare it to, so no.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. State?
Was there any DNA to compare to the tarp,
No, sir.
the strap,
No, sir.
anything in the grave?
No, sir.
The home, when that DNA swab would have happened, would have been at least 2 years since the fire pit and cement slab was installed.
Yes, sir.
And so we are talking about 2 years worth of people going in and out of that sliding glass door.
That's correct.
And in that house, we know that she had a.
And Jenny, I'm not a crass person, and this is a good Christian channel, so I won't say it's probably not the only thing of hers they've been in.
Commitment ceremony to Travis Filmer, so he's been in that house.
Yes.
We know her son Aiden's been in that house since then.
You don't scope across or redirect, Judge, excuse me.
Overruled. You may proceed.
We know that she has her son Aiden that's been in there.
Yes.
They're on Facebook. There are pictures of parties and things like that going on in that house.
Yes, sir.
There's countless people going through that slide glass.
Yes, sir.
Would there be any evidentiary benefit to comparing anything to that DNA?
No, sir.
Even if you got DNA, which there was nothing to compare to on the tarp, would that tell you when that DNA got there?
No, sir.
All right. There's also been an assertion that the arrest was made based upon proximity to the grave, and because Laurie was the closest person to where the body was found. When was the body found?
March 9th, 2018.
When was she arrested?
September 17th, 2020.
So there was a lot of other stuff that went into it, more than just proximity.
Yes, sir.
Nothing further, Judge.
Mr. Wiggs?
And just real briefly, you find the body in what time?
Time of day or date?
What year?
2018.
When did you get the Facebook record?
I think also 2018, I think.
2018.
Okay.
So you have these records, you have a body. Obviously, the records aren't very much of a telltale sign if you wait 2 more years to arrest Laurie Shaver, correct?
Well, it wasn't just the records either.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further?
No, sir.
Yeah, the witness be released from our subpoena.
Was it really something to point out?
I believe that she may be called in rebuttal, but she can be released today.
All right. Thank you for appearing today. You're subject to recall. Have a good day. All right, your next witness.
The state calls James Bel.
Oh, you're not
Did you
getting
say Jay?
the wicked Bellew, whose real name is Bello,
Please
I
proceed,
think.
yourself comfortable. Let me know when you're ready to proceed.
Well, he's the guy who sold them a truck where she got a discount, and whose wife, because he was also
Oh,
married
it's
when he was banging
Bellew.
her,
Got you.
and the wife got a restraining order on her.
Oh, I want to hear about this. Come on.
Please state and spell your full legal name.
Jimmy Lee Blue, J-I-M-M-Y, Lee, L-E-E, Blue, B-A-L-L-E-W.
Thank you. Please raise your right hand. I'll swear you in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you give today shall be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I swear.
And brother man, spit out that gum. You're in court.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Please introduce yourself to the jury.
I'm Jimmy. How y'all doing?
You know Laurie Shaver?
Yes.
Now, when did you first meet Laurie Shaver?
This is in the summer of 14.
And where did you meet her?
Don Mealy Chevrolet.
And where were you working at the time?
There, Don Mealy.
What was your position there?
Salesman.
And what was the context of the meeting that you had at the Chevrolet dealership with Laurie Shaver?
They were buying a truck.
When you say they, who are you referring to?
Her and her old man.
Do you remember his name?
It's Mr. Shaver.
Michael Shaver?
Michael Shaver, yeah.
And what kind of truck was she looking at that
I think it was Silverado. Chevy.
Did they end up purchasing a vehicle that first time that they went to the dealership?
No.
Did there come a time that she returned to the dealership?
Yes.
And when she returned to the dealership, do you remember how she was dressed?
Short shorts, cowboy boots on.
Okay. And was her husband with her?
No.
And what was the purpose of her coming that second time?
I really don't remember, to be honest with you. It was something to do with we owed them something or something for the truck, I
Did they end
believe.
up purchasing a vehicle?
Yeah, they did, yeah.
After that purchase had been completed, did you end up texting with Laurie Shaver back and forth?
Yeah, about the truck and all.
And at some point, did those text messages move on to something other than just the truck purchase?
Yeah.
Did you end up having a physical relationship with the defendant?
Yeah, me and my girlfriend split up. Yep.
Sidebar, please.
Hey, I'm Baker. How y'all doing? That's
Well,
be
he
my
had a
name.
girlfriend. He wasn't married, so correction there.
Oh yeah, so he's a good one.
Well, he's trying to say, me and my girlfriend split up.
Yeah, so
Look at him.
he knows that she has an old man, and he still thinks that's la lalas
Oh.
de tuna that I need to rattle.
He said she showed up in those short shorts and those cowboy boots. Couldn't resist.
And nothing gets a man's motor running like some short shorts and cowboy boots. We all saw
guess.
Jessica Simpson in the Dukes of Hazzard.
I did not.
Is that my American cousin? We don't look anything alike just because we're fat.
Please proceed. Having a physical relationship with Laurie Shaver.
Yes, after me and my lady split up.
And you had mentioned something about split up. You were still married at that time.
No, we wasn't married at the time. No,
What was your relationship status then?
we've been together for, well, me and my wife has been together since 2001.
Okay.
So yeah,
At the time you started the physical relationship with Laurie
confused.
Shaver, what was your relationship?
it was girlfriend.
They were dating, and after they broke up, and he rattled La Lalas de Tuna,
Oh,
they got
okay.
married.
Then they got married.
Boyfriend.
That
Correct.
nothing more like that, right? The man goes out.
Well,
and
you
sees
need to
someone
go
else,
out
then
and test
you
if
go, I must marry him.
nothing. You need to go out and see if the grass is greener or the crabs getting spread is better.
Oh, is that what it is?
It was girlfriend and boyfriend, I reckon you'd say,
Okay.
before you get married. I mean,
All right. Now, the relationship that you had with Miss Shaver, how long did that last?
not long at all. Not long at all.
And the who ended?
I did.
Did she want more out of the relationship than you did?
Yeah.
Mr. Robbins? Excuse me.
Sidebar, please. Come on up.
To show she's a stalker.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't want this evidence to come out because apparently she went a little cray-cray.
Well, she probably tried to stuff in a suitcase or something, and he said no. Melissa, you know it's Jamie's trained cricket that makes the background.
Yeah. They are.
And so it's always ready if Zach or Puddletown drops a dad joke.
I have a lot of crickets out here, apparently.
Laurie has a ball U tatted on her hip. She can't spell well. Ball U. Ball.
Did she want more out of this relationship than you did?
Yeah.
And where would the physical acts between you and Laurie Shaver occur?
At her house.
And what time of day would they occur?
Oh, I don't know. It's been years, man.
Do you remember she was working in an office or remotely at that time?
She wasn't working in no office. She's working at home.
Wow. And when was the last time that you had any contact with either Laurie Shaver or Michael Shaver?
It was before the summer was up, so it was. I only was probably a month and a half. Probably, I'd say June, July. I guess July or August would have been in 2014 was the last contact.
After the relationship between you and Laurie Shaver ended in 2014,
Yeah.
was there a time frame that Michael Shaver actually reached out to you to ask for help with something?
Probably about a month later, if not right close to it, he called me and said Laurie's trying to kill herself or she's trying to do something like that, and I said,
All right. Sustained.
Without getting into anything,
okay,
he reached out and asked for help.
yeah, and I told him that's between y'all. And
Did you have any contact with either of them after that?
no,
Have you ever gone back over to the Shaver
No.
residence after that?
no.
Nothing further.
Thank you. Mr. Wiggs.
Judge, will you approach, please?
Sidebar, please. Come on up.
We're getting to 30, Jamie. Do you know that?
Woohoo! Aww. He's done? Oh no, the other guy's gonna.
Yeah, I was gonna get cross. But I like this fella.
It's just.
He's a down to the earth, and he smelled the crazy case real fast.
He said it's between y'all. Peace.
Yeah. She's acting crazy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court will instruct the jurors to disregard any testimony dealing with violence as testified to by Mr. Ballou. All right, is that satisfactory to the parties?
Yes, sir.
Well, they
Okay,
already
thank you. Please
heard
proceed.
it. It's
I
already
already
there.
said no further.
Yes, sir. Mr. Wiggs?
No, I don't have anything. Thank you, Judge.
All right, may the witness be excused from his subpoena. Thank you, sir, for appearing today. You're excused from further testimony. Have a good day.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Come on, JJ.
Yes, sir, come on up.
And another sidebar. Come on, Mr. JJ.
JJ.
Oh, he had a whole harem with him.
He did. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, his girlfriend wife has a restraining order on Laurie. Well, he's just like me then.
You know, I mean, they didn't really have much to cross him on, so.
No, it wouldn't be good anyway.
Yeah, it would probably look crazy and her, like, make her look even more
Yeah.
crazy.
That would be one of those where you would step on some landmines. So,
Especially this
he
guy,
was-
because I don't think Jimmy would have. He would have just been honest.
yeah, Jimmy had a crew. He had at least 2 honeys with him.
Yeah.
And we're caught up. Hey, y'all. I'm Jimmy. How you doing?
You really liked that, didn't you?
Yeah. You want to be taken out to one of the most expensive places I know? Yeah. Well, I'm going to court. You can follow me. That's I love it when we've been sitting through all this tedious crapiola all day, and then all of a sudden, hey y'all, I'm Jimmy. How you doing? I love people like that.
And he said reckon. I love when they say reckon.
This was the first to plant the flag in the fun box beside Michael. No, I believe more have been there.
All right, ladies and
Only the
gentlemen of the jury, we're going to conclude for the day at this point.
Aw, man.
I would advise you again to please do not discuss the case with each other or anyone else. Should you see the attorneys out and about, please do not speak with them. If they ignore you, they are following the law and doing as they are instructed. Please do not research the case. Please do not view any media or read any articles about the case. And we'll see you tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock at Jury Assembly Room. Have a nice night. Thank you.
Yeah, because I knew that Townsend's going to be a while.
Is she crying now?
Oh, coddle her. She's probably upset that that came out. She's like, now everybody knows I'm crazy.
Well, we kind of knew
All
before.
right, the jury has exited the courtroom. Is there anything further before we adjourn for the day?
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Thank you, everyone. See you at 8:30 in the morning.
She really seems like the type of person that is obsessed with what people think about her.
Yeah. I bet you she's going home and tonight she's rewatching every live stream covering her just to see which one of us she hates the most.
I feel like she's that type of lady. She seems like it. Especially since she's like, all these people are talking about me online. See, Judge? It's not fair.
Yeah. Do you know that stupid Danish guy who said my fun box is bedazzled? It's not true, Your Honor. And it's not true that every guy who do the I'm just getting out of the pool on me sees it, because I haven't met a womanscape down there in a long time.
Oh my God.
So it looks more like when they're looking up, they have an afro.
Stop it. Ugh.
They were on a break, Nanya, and then they got married after he had been rattling la las de tuna.
And they weren't married. They were just girlfriend and boyfriend. And then they broke up.
Yeah.
He had his fling with Laurie, and then he went back to her, and then they got married.
It's stop what? I'm trying to be visual because Jamie
I don't
is
need
very-
visuals. I don't need any of that. I'm fine. You don't need to help me out.
This
Yeah,
is kind
she's
of
not.
her. This is her point of view.
Oh my God. I'm gonna see why I'm not in control because I'd end the stream right now.
I should sleep more, Jamie. Oh, I understand why people leave us.
I get it too. I want to leave us. I want to leave now.
Should we let Marissa run the show tomorrow so people
Yeah,
don't get mad?
Marissa, please step in.
Yeah, Marissa is on it tomorrow.
We haven't had a case we could make fun of in a long time, so it's fine. I feel better about it.
Oh, it's been a long day. This is not a chat for the sensitive soul. No, it's a
Nope.
chat for grown-ups, and even if you get a little hurt on your fifis, just come back tomorrow again, and then yell at Zach. Whenever you get mad, just yell at Zach.
Yeah, we
Let's,
like to have a mix of seriousness and fun, and a little
Yeah,
ridiculous degen, so it's fine. You'll be okay.
yeah. I'm not crass. I didn't paint on any legs or anything else on there. Not enough.
Oh my God.
I don't know if Brandy is probably gonna go to her own channel if she's gonna. I can send you all. I think she's still going over there. I can send you all over to Brandy, and you might be able to get it because me and Jamie is gonna have a meeting with HR where Marissa is gonna tell us not acceptable. Baker likes a bush. No, no. I'm not a 70s kid. I'm a 90s kid. All y'all, Jamie is sorry that she brings this out in me. I'm gonna chuck you over to Brandy. Remember to give her some muffins in chat. Hopefully you'll be back tomorrow, and I will try to be better.
Oh, don't.
Probably won't. I will try, Jamie. I didn't promise anything.
Yeah. Don't pretend to be something you're not.
Hasta la taco.
Bye.
What exhibit are you referring to?
I'm going to make this 100, Your Honor.
All right.
100.
100.
Because it is 100%
100%.
correct.
Objection, Your Honor.
So you literally built a cannon?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
All right, I'm in love.
Go back. Please do that again. Oh, that was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
While I'm waiting for this, did you, whether it's true or not, believe that Mr. Randolph had slept with your wife?
I wouldn't care.
You wouldn't have cared?
No,
Did you believe he had slept with your wife?
no,
Did you believe he slept with your mother-in-law?
probably did. Everybody has.
So there.
Everybody has.
Sorry, Brandy ended before, but I'll send you somewhere else. Bye.
Bye.